I am back. Have you started the stream?
Yes, the stream is now start. The stream
And I'm your second host,
Oh,
Captain Chiral.
that's right. Man,
Did you hear?
flawless.
Did you hear that little as I realized you were starting the stream?
No, I did not.
Oh yeah, like literally, you're like, and okay, good. OBS is working, and I can start the stream now. And I'm sitting here in my chair, and I go and I do like a little shimmy down the hall, like in flip flops, like running as fast as flip flops on a hardwood floor will let me. I grab a can of White Claw, run the shimmy run back as fast as my little flip-flops will let me. At no point did I take off the flip-flops because I could run faster without them.
Of course, of course.
And I come back and I set down the can and then I think to myself, wait, no, I only have one can. I need to make sure the stream is going. Alejo, have you started the stream yet? And you're like, yes. And I'm like, oh. So I grab the can and I hold it up to the mic and I'm like trying to get my finger to pop the tab and like it's slipping and then finally like the pad of my finger passes the tab, but my nail does not.
Oh.
And it starts to hurt. And then I think,
okay.
I have two choices. I can either salvage the bit as best as I can and pull this tab with like the strength of my nail, which will hurt a lot.
A lot.
Or I can try again and probably fail another 6 times in a row.
Right.
And so I elected to do the option that hurt a lot.
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't worth it because it didn't go through Discourse.
I know. Oh.
I'm so sorry. It didn't go through it at all, and I'm sorry to have spoiled everything for you.
All right. I'm going back on hiatus.
You know what? That is fair.
Okay.
This hiatus was far shorter.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That was a very mild car wreck.
More of a speed bump, really.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. By the way, hello, Mario. No.
By the way, hello, Mario. Well, it's good to have you back, friend.
Yes, it is good to be back. My food is here actually.
Yeah, get it. Go get it. You're fine.
Good to have you back. Food. Bye.
I really did not feel like cooking tonight. Absolutely. And was just more so over than I wanted to not cook. I wanted like poke.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I gotta go.
Okay, yeah. We'll be here when you return. So since it didn't work for him, it'll work for me.
Of course.
Because I was
Why
speaking.
did you do that while he was gone?
I should have waited, you're right, but I wanted to drink my my monster coffee.
What have you got? Monster?
Mm-hmm. It's it's that Java monster, like usual, the caramel one, the salted caramel one.
Nice.
Good stuff. Anyway, hello, and welcome back to Table Talk Discussion and Discourse. I as always am your host, Alejo, aka Great on 95.
Yeah, and since he's gone, I'll be the second host this time.
True. Technically, you did already say his little thing, but
oh, did he claim to be the second host?
Way before, but you could. It was part of the bit when he was explaining what was happening. It was part of the bit.
Oh, okay.
That's why I had to ruin it.
Then I guess I'll be the third one.
That's why I had to ruin it, telling him that his snap didn't go through.
Yeah, his shit didn't work.
Yeah.
Remember when we unironically did that for the first fucking
I wish
episode?
Man, remember when we lost the first 30 minutes to that first episode ever?
Yep.
Good times. Good times.
Legend has it that that it's somewhere on your computer,
It is not.
and that in order for people to listen to that lost thing, they need to donate a lot of
That
money.
is not true, because it does not exist, because
Yeah, it's not
it
there.
never started recording. I'm gonna immediately squash that one. Get out of here. But yeah, hello. Nice full crew tonight. Yes, hello Slay.
Yep.
August says I saw spoilers to DB superhero movie. What the fuck was Bulma thinking? Lol.
Oh.
I've not seen anything about it because I don't.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't really want to watch it because it's all CG.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah, basically they're using like. Now here's the thing:
Is
the
it
models
the 3D
they look
weird models or?
yeah, it's pretty much the models that they have from like it's the same quality as the ones that they have in like Fighter Z. So they're really really
okay.
good quality.
That's not bad. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you compare Dragon Ball Superhero to the Broly movie,
Sure.
there's no fucking contest.
Sure.
That Broly movie is a fucking feast for the eyes.
I bet. I will take your word for it, friend.
Hell, I can give you that movie. I have it.
No, you're good. Don't worry about
Now,
that.
I order utensils from the poke place.
That's a silly thing
that
to do.
I ordered dinner from, right?
Uh-huh.
And just because I didn't want to do dishes, like
Silly.
and what do you think is what I received?
You received napkins, but that's the only other thing.
No napkins, actually.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh.
What?
I'm gonna guess you got a spork.
Oh.
Both incorrect. I received chopsticks and nothing else.
Okay.
Might that strike you as problematic for eating a poke bowl?
You know.
What's in a poke bowl?
A poke bowl is just like the bottom is a shit ton of rice, and then it's topped with like seaweed salad, furikake, pickled daikon.
Well, you can't eat that shit with chopsticks?
Jalapenos. You can slowly.
That's the point.
It's not.
I thought you were a weeb.
It's not sushi rice though. It doesn't stick as well as sushi rice.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, a spoon would have been far better.
Yeah.
Or a spork.
Probably. Or a spork.
Or even a
really.
spork.
Yeah.
Sporks
I would
are
have said
underrated,
a
honestly.
fapoon.
Yeah. Oh, the fapoons. Yeah.
Yeah, a fapoon. God damn it.
I would have settled for a spork.
You know what?
Yeah.
I just need a spike. And I'm not talking about the sporks with knives. No, I'm just talking about a literal spike. That's
Is
all.
that a thing?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I could make it a thing. Just go get a spike and start using it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Just go get a spike and then like shove it through my brain and then.
Well,
like,
yeah,
we're-
you could do
we're
that. Yeah.
having a good time.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Anyway, let's see other thing. Indigo says greetings. Hello. August says visually superhero has too much on the screen to appreciate it compared to Broly. There you go. Indigo says how is everyone tonight? Doing good.
Tired.
How are
Just
you?
had an
two?
early shift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been up since 6, but I'm doing all right.
Jeez.
I have also been up since 6.
Hell yeah, bro.
Or no, sorry, 7.
I've been up since 9.
Ah, gotcha.
But I'm still tired.
Well, that's fine. I've gotten more and more used to it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Now, Alejo.
Hello.
First off, you're my friend, and I value your company.
I don't know if I like where this is going, but go on.
Secondly, give me links, you big bastard.
Ah, yes. It has been a while, has it not? That's not a link. Aside from that, Lux says spikes do exist. There you go. Yes.
Oh my god.
That is true.
Wow.
They do exist. And been up since an hour and a half ago. Oh, there you go. Nice.
I'm jealous.
Oh, this. I need this. There you are, friend. Okay. So,
Duncan.
you're welcome. I gotta get back into that habit. Wonder if these horror stories will teach us children valuable lessons. Well, that is a interesting thing, because I don't know if they're horror stories or not. So these two videos that we're going to be covering, the first one is going to be on bad advice, and the other one's going to be on bad GMing styles. You might have seen the bad GMing styles being covered.
Yes, I have seen a Scott Garibay video, yes.
Well, no. No, he is our Lord. But you may have seen the bad GMing styles being covered already via Brogan, our friend, known at Ones. Because he did a video on it, I think, a while ago, though I didn't watch it. So I don't know what the content of the video is. I don't think any of us have seen it. Maybe.
What, you think I watch his videos? No.
Yeah, I mean, well. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I don't play Pathfinder. I'm playing a bitch game. No.
I like to support my friends in their jobs, but I'm more like the thoughts and prayers type of support.
Ah, yes, of course.
I tell Brogan, I support you, and then I do nothing.
Well, I mean, you are supporting him, just, spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really the thought that counts. I mean, that's why it's a saying. But yeah, this is one that I had not seen, so it will be fresh for us. But the first one we're going to be covering is on the advice, and that is brought to us by Ginny D. And it's called The Worst DM Advice That Everyone Gives. So I'm very excited to see what this is, because we can talk a little bit in depth about why maybe they do it, what's the reasoning, and all that kind of stuff. Aiden, are you? Yes, you are. Very good.
So I apologize if you can hear me. I'm going to be typing an email for a little bit here.
You
But
should be okay.
after that, I'll be good.
Oh, you're fine.
Well, do you have your noise occlusion on? You should be fine.
If you're doing it right
yeah,
now,
my
can't
mic
hear you.
doesn't typically pick it up. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think I wrote a comment on that video. That's cool. I was going to guess Garibay, but she was number 2 on who would be on tonight. Well, there you go. So this was months ago, I think, at this point that this video came out. I don't know.
Actually, Alejo,
I don't keep up.
Before you move on, I'd like to salvage a bit while I can.
Okay, please.
And say, whenever Boo is smart, he must sound like his keyboard, because I've never heard Boo say anything smart.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Why did I take a celebratory sip by myself? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I toasted myself. Why the fuck would I do that?
You're so alone. You're so lonely.
What is
and
this?
sad.
What is this new fucking Giga Chad behavior going on here?
Now that he's gone away, he's on his own. He's changed. He's changed in more ways than one.
I roasted a person. God, I was good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Was it as good for me as it was for me? Goddamn right.
When I walk in the room and Metal Gear Revenge's music starts playing.
Ah, yes. Oh, God, so good.
Yep.
I need to finish that game. It's so good.
Like, I turn around the corner of the room and all you hear is, Aiden, come!
Yeah. Okay. So, as said, Ginny D, I will switch us over here. Yes, the worst DM advice that everyone gives. So let us see what that advice is.
You can't swing a dead displacer beast in D&D communities without hitting one extremely common piece of advice for dungeon masters. Don't over-prepare. This advice is everywhere. It's the most common advice beginner DMs get when they ask for tips, and people often tell me this even when I'm not asking for advice. I hope y'all have hellish resistance, because this take is gonna be hot. That's bad advice. Ah! My flesh. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. Dan Dillon, a game designer for D&D, had a whole Twitter thread about this a few years ago, and I actually had a great conversation on this subject with Mark Humes, the DM of High Rollers, just the other week, and we were kind of on the same page. Not only do I think don't over-prepare is unhelpful advice.
So, I'm going to drop my hot take on the situation when I have a mouthful of food.
You should.
1 second.
Oh.
Okay, so I do think telling a new DM don't over prepare is good advice. It's good advice.
Yeah.
However, it is one half of the advice that you should be giving, which are actually a third of the advice you should be giving. The 3 sentences should be: don't over prepare, don't under prepare, and since you are new to this, err on the side of over preparing and just make that mistake.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically kind of the way that I was gonna go about it, because over preparing to a new DM, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. Because
Exactly.
they have no frame of reference, which is why I agree it is kind of bad advice in that respect, because you're just gonna make them like question everything, right?
Yeah.
Like when you as an experienced DM say don't over prepare, that means stuff like don't have the weather for the day like already planned out. It is going to rain on day 3 of this adventure.
Unless
Make
that's
sure
relevant, I guess.
Yeah, make sure that you know the tariffs that the next country over has.
Yeah.
Like that is what a DM thinks of over preparing, and they go, yeah, that's ridiculous to prepare. Why would I care what the tariffs are 600 miles from here? However, to a new DM who hears the words don't over prepare, they think, so does the barkeeper not need a name? Does this inn need to have a bard in it? What do I need to know what instrument the bard is playing? And like this is the problem of when you speak from a platform of experience.
Yeah.
A sentence you say is not what your audience hears.
Exactly. You need to know your audience first off.
So telling a new DM like don't over prepare and have every single thing plotted out because it will go off of those rails is valid advice, and that's why you tell them don't over prepare and have every single NPC's dialogue planned.
Yeah, don't have every NPC have like a page of backstory. Like you don't need that. Right.
Don't be writing out like Skyrim dialogue boxes as to what the players will probably say and what the NPC will say back.
Right. It's less. It's sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Don't like over prepare, have dialogue boxes written out. Don't under prepare and not know what the name of the tavern is.
Right.
Find a happy medium, and when in doubt, err on the side of caution by over preparing.
Right. I think it's just using prepare as like over prepare, under prepare just sets a standard that's weird for somebody that's never had experience with it, right? Because again, they don't know what that means in the sense of like the grand scheme, right? What I would honestly say is your first adventure, just like, I don't know, man, you just plot out your first adventure and figure out what's important to it, right? Like that's really what you need. You don't need fucking, like you said, the tariffs on the other side of fucking the world. You don't need to worry about that shit, because it's just you just need to worry about, especially if you're starting out, you just need to worry about having a good time, honestly. Like that's it. Just having a good time with your friends, making sure that it's a cohesive enough story, because you're gonna fuck up. Something is gonna go wrong. You are gonna forget a rule or something like that. It's just an inevitability, and that's not something to be afraid of, right? And kind of going, don't over prepare, it puts that pressure on everything of like, I need to okay, I need to, or don't underprepare even I need to make sure that I know all the rules and stuff right off the bat, like every single moment. It becomes a larger problem, I think.
Yes.
When you just kind of leave it as that vagary.
Vagary.
Yeah, well,
a vagrant.
Yes. So I think it's just as I saw in the chat, who said it? But I think Lux said it. Basically, don't over prepare is the wrong choice of words.
Yes.
Which I would absolutely agree with. You just need to set a reasonable expectation. I think that's really what you want to do with your words, and make sure that it's clear. Mongoose says hello.
Hello.
Inigo says there's no such thing as over prepare. Technically, yes. In a way, though, there is a I was going to say this. The limit that you can set for yourself is up to you, but you need to know your own limits. And like that's something that you won't find out without experience as well. So as a new DM, if you want to try to go overboard with stuff, well, you better realize that you might like burn yourself out very fast. Right?
Yeah.
So if you like the detail that you want might be something that you work up to, right? And there's no shame in that, right? Like if you don't have the most immaculate story ever because you're not Matt Mercer, right? Don't ever kid yourself otherwise. When you're just starting out, unless you're a natural at it for with natural talent, I guess. In that case, like I don't know, toot your own horn or something, whatever. But you want to set your personal limit that you know that you can reach, and then if you are comfortable enough to like get bit past that when you're preparing stuff, then and like make sure that all your stuff is gonna go well in that kind of way, then yeah, go for it. I guess what I'm saying is don't railroad is the right way to put it. Yes. Oh, that is something that's absolutely something you should tell somebody.
No, that is absolutely fair. That's
it is ultimately one of the worst problems that can happen, though it might not feel that way immediately, or it might not even become a problem for your group. Who knows? It really depends.
I think I've actually got a warm take. I think for a new DM, I think telling them, I don't know if I would say make your first adventure a railroad. I wouldn't say that, but what I would say is that if your first ever adventure is a railroad, come out and tell your players and say, hey, since this is my first time playing, this is my first time running it, it might be a little bit railroady, and I apologize for that.
Yeah.
But since it's my first game, I'd like to try something that's a little bit more controlled. So that way we can kind of figure out how to do this. And then in the future, we're definitely going to branch out.
That's why
I think
that's what you did with the Call of Cthulhu campaign.
Exactly.
True.
So I don't think that a railroad is necessarily the worst thing in the world for a brand new DM. I think that they can be useful in actually figuring out how the game plays.
Yeah, you want to have a good understanding of mechanics and the system itself. Right?
Yes, because sandbox games are not easy to run.
No, they fucking suck sometimes.
Yes, they're not easy to run. And especially for a new player or a new DM.
Yeah.
I mean, technically a DM is a player, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's why I always point towards if you want to start and you're unsure, fucking
module.
Yeah, module, exactly. Yeah. Get a module that will set you on the right path. Like you can still go out of bounds with it as when you want to, and all that kind of stuff. Or when your players are kind of like doing stuff, you'll get that experience of improv that you'll probably need to start working on because DMing that is part of it, right? They're gonna go off on their own path and shit, but it gives you that guideline that you can set that you can just start going, oh, what happens when they go into town and actually go down the south way that isn't towards the dungeon at all? Like, what's down there, right? Like, the players are gonna want to know, so you're gonna have to figure it out at some point. More than likely. Let's see. The problem is that DMs get too attached to what they prepare and often treat it as sacrosanct instead
Sacrosanct.
of sacrosanct. Oh,
Sacrosanct.
oh, there's an
Sacrosanct.
N in this word.
Like
That's why I read it.
Oh.
like sacred.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Instead of just letting and the prepared info be there for when players go off the rails. Yeah. It's just it becomes when they're first starting out, it can be it's my story and not our story thing.
Yes.
So it's just one of those things that, again, with experience, they'll kind of get. It's been so long since I've joined a live stream, I've forgotten what you guys sounded like, not at 2x speed. Anyway, glad to see the gang back together. Well, hello, Con. Thank you.
Yeah, my voice is still a little bit fucky, but...
What are you talking about, Con? This is what we sound like at 2x speed.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. You've been listening
This is how we talk
for
all the
so
time.
long. It's at 1x for you now.
Yeah. Come on, get with the program.
That's right.
Faster,
Speaking of,
Alejo, faster.
sorry. Speaking of dialogue boxes, I was
Have
playing.
you considered that you just listen slowly, Con?
Exactly. Speaking of dialogue boxes, I was playing Knights of the Old Republic, and one conversation would loop a skill check, which was rather funny. Oh yeah, they did that in that old game, every now and again. But anyway, as a new GM, I've defiantly over-prepped and sometimes still do, and that's absolutely fine. Like, the thing is, with the word over-prepping, it gives a negative connotation because of everybody who gives it that negative connotation. And it can be, like, detrimental. Like I said, it could burn you the fuck out. But it can also be incredibly rewarding. So, you know, it really depends on you. August says it's better to over-prep.
No,
Can
it
be.
is. I will say, as someone whose players go through his campaign at a pace I would best describe as glacial.
That's right.
I tend to do, like, when I prep for sessions, I do what would be called quote unquote like over prepping. But that's because I will prep out about a session's worth of material, and then I will be good for a month.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
It, again, mileage may vary. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah. Your group, if you are a DM, will most likely be different. The two groups I've DM'd for were, like, one was slow and one was very fucking slow.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not a fan of reusing content. Like, there's two paths in the forest and they're both the same path. Like, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But, like, if your players walk into the tavern and see Boblin the Goblin,
Right.
and they go, Boblin, you are our new mascot. We will follow you to the ends of the earth.
Right.
And you go, Artorius, the death-defying knight. Now maybe Artorius the logger.
Sure.
And that's where, like, those NPC names that you have of just Artorius, Svilthelm, or whoever, you just go, oh, okay, and you copy paste. And you're like, okay, there is a lazy guard who is leaning on his spear named Svilthelm. There is a logger with a wagon that has a broken axle named Artorius. And that's just kind of where you go. So, like, there is definitely an ad-libbing aspect that you have to take to be able to DM. You need to be able to, like, sort of roll with the punches.
Yeah.
but at the same time, don't let that stop you from making a story.
Yeah.
And uh yeah, I unfortunately the only advice I can give is like you just got to do it, man.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like the best way to do it is just to experience it.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that all the systems work, you know?
It's like trying to learn how to dance by reading a textbook.
Yeah, you're not gonna. It's gonna be way different. Way different. If you want to railroad out your players on a, if you want to railroad out your players on a train.
If you want to railroad, put your players on a train.
Put your players on it. That makes more sense. Yes. Thank you.
That's why I like Call of Cthulhu. I can railroad them all I want.
That's right. Have them solve a mystery on a train? Yes, you could.
Like
the
Oriental Express.
Yeah. Quite literally, if you want to have characters be in a location and continue to be in that location, you have them be on a thing that is a confined location that they cannot escape from easily. I mean, they can jump off a train if they want to. That's fine. That just means they don't do the thing. Okay.
Yeah. And now they're out in the wilderness. Who knows?
I mean, that's what they wanted. That's fine.
Yeah. Or an airship. If you don't want them to jump off, you put them in an airship.
That's right.
And then they can still do it.
That still won't stop them, my friend.
No,
I gotta
still
fall.
won't stop them. Indeed.
How to train your players.
You'll have the barbarian going, oh, I've got unending rage. That means I take half damage. That means I can fall and take half damage, right?
That's right.
No.
That's right.
As a DM, I'm going to rule that no.
As a DM, even Jim Crawford is like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The Jurassic takes full falling.
Yeah.
Well, we've made it 42 seconds, boys, and we've gone about 30 minutes. So good job, everybody. We've done it. Let's go.
Hey, you know what? This is my first stream back.
No, I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong.
This is what we do.
That took up a little bit of time on its own. We need to make it so we're 42 seconds in and 42 minutes into the stream.
Oh, you're right. 10 more minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I find it good, and I always find it refreshing because no one can accuse us of being just pure reaction, nothing else. We're always making transformative content, and that's good.
Well, yes, the case is like how to put this? Someone would not be able to criticize us.
You are far away, my friend.
Oh, sorry. Someone would not be able to criticize us of making transformative content.
Not doing that.
Or sorry, they wouldn't be able to accuse us of just being a reaction channel.
Yes.
However, the criticism could be made validly that we get so distracted so as to be lost in the weeds of our own stream, essentially.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's fine. And that's why even in a comment that we'll have later on, way later on, people will correct us if things. That's why we have the ability for people to go, "Hey, you fucked up." And that's good. I like that.
And then we'll be like, "Oh shit, we fucked up." Thanks for pointing that out.
Because we have integrity. Anyway, here we go.
I think it can even be potentially harmful to new DMs. But I'm not here to drop a spicy take as engagement bait and then disappear. This isn't Twitter. I'm here to explain myself and then provide a solution, like a goddamn contributing member of the community. So let's get started.
Well, that's new.
There are a few reasons I think don't overprepare is bad advice. The first of which is it's oversimplified. Shocking on the internet, I know. There are so many things that go into session prep. Everything from map making to world building to encounter balancing to creating NPCs and mapping out quests to picking loot. It could refer to narrative descriptions, reviewing notes from previous sessions, creating rolling tables. The list goes on and on. So what prep is this advice even referring to? Is it saying prepare all those things but only a little? Is it saying prepare some of those things but not others? Everyone probably has a different definition of what overpreparing looks like in their own head when they say this, but what's in their head doesn't necessarily translate to the people hearing this advice.
This is exactly our point. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because it's so easy to immediately come to that conclusion. And I don't see why more people don't and continue to spread this like just don't do it, just don't. It's like everything with a lot of this advice, unfortunately, or a lot of like memes and stuff for D&D. Like
You
40.
know, Alejo,
Hi.
there is something I saw a few weeks ago,
Oh no.
that I find relevant right now, and it's when you said, just don't do that."
Okay.
And it is a fact which we owe the continued existence of our channel to.
Oh.
Which is, I saw someone on Twitter posted a thing saying, if you have a solution to a problem and it starts with if everyone would just, that's not a solution. At no point in human history has everyone just.
Yeah. No, they did that one time apparently, and then were struck down.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that though.
Hmm?
Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very. As I said, apparently. Anyway.
Potentially, maybe.
Potentially.
Arguably not.
Arguably
Arguably
not.
so.
Yeah. Anyway.
It comes with trusting a 6,000-year-old book.
The players can jump off the train anytime they like, but I wouldn't recommend it. There's a Love, Death, and Robots episode that does that. Good episode. I haven't watched the second season yet. I'm excited to, though. I like the
I've
first
only
one.
got like 2 episodes into Love, Death, and Robots, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I like never watced it again
That's
for
fair.
some reason.
I liked it. At least the first season. It was pretty neat. I sure am having a bad connection suddenly. That sucks. Jump off the train and land in a cactus.
Oh, damn it.
Yes. Good idea. Did they make their perception check before jumping off the train? No. You can't accuse me of stealing, but you can accuse me of loitering. They can't accuse us of shit. It's fine. Hey, we've got to make sure you don't finish the stream before I make it to work. So that's not happening. Sorry. Think about a minute behind right now. Okay.
Mention the gears here is the
Hello
word
from a
over.
minute in the
Who's
future.
to say how much preparation constitutes over preparing? That implies
Oh.
that there
He died?
Oh, I think he did.
Oh, but he's still online. Oh, weird.
Maybe he's just retiring.
Anyway.
is an appropriate amount of prep, but doesn't actually explain what that amount is. Without that distinction, this advice is functionally meaningless. It's like
Yes.
giving someone directions
Okay.
and all you
Well,
tell them is go north, but not too far north. Good luck, hope you find it. Every DM has a different style and different needs, so even if this advice came with a description of how much prep is too much,
Well, now you'll find it over yonder. If you find the tree, you've gone too far.
Yeah, exactly. It's so vague. Ginny D scared off Boo. That's right. Yeah, it did happen.
God,
Prep?
there's some
It
fucking
still wouldn't-
aqua.
apply universally.
Very upset.
Some DMs are capable of coming to the table with zero preparation and delivering a great game, and others are decidedly not. Most DMs fall somewhere in the middle, where they benefit from certain kinds of prep and not from others. Even if that's true, saying this advice is harmful seems like a stretch. Honestly, I don't think it is. I mean, for one thing, I think there's a very real
I actually fully adore that she has actually wait, was Ginny D was that Ginny D or Satine Phoenix that used they them pronouns?
Satine, I think.
Okay. I adore the fact that like Ginny has a shirt that says comment section.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
That is a fantastic bit.
Yeah. My only contention at the moment is just it's not necessarily always harmful, but it can be incredibly like detrimental in some cases. Absolutely, right? Overall it really does depend on what happens after the fact with whoever gets that advice, but I would say absolutely that we should refine it to a point where we now like understand what that means without using don't over prepare, because that is way too vague. Right? Like it is in essence going to most likely do more I guess harm than good in this instance. But I don't think it is. I guess the word harmful does imply that in a way. So, but yeah, I don't know. If we use not maybe misconstrued works. The advice can be misconstrued. Let me look at the word. Sorry.
There you go.
Misconstrued, because I want to make sure that I'm using the word correctly. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the advice can be misconstrued by people, but it also can be taken and actually built upon by others. Like, not all of us were able to get that advice and get anybody to say, well, it doesn't mean that you don't have to like get all of this. Like, there's a level here that you can reach, and then, you know, once you get there, then you're probably good, but you can go over. Like, nobody came to say that to a lot of us, you know. So it can still like inspire that overall when they look into the material and all that kind of stuff, but it is not basically the advice is doing in that case, right? It's more the person themselves and how they interpret it. Anyway,
risk that DMs who prep too little might end up with a game that feels superficial and boring. Improvisation is all well and good, but there's also a place for thoughtful, intentional choices, and it can be very difficult to make those off the cuff. Sure, you can improvise a dungeon crawl, or a random town, or a short quest, but if you want politics, or mysteries, or secrets, or history, that's gonna require at least a little preparation outside of the game to execute. I'm sure there are some DMs who can wing an entire compelling campaign arc, but not many. I also think it can be harmful to new DMs to imply that investing time and thought into their prep will make their games worse. D&D is a pretty complicated game.
yeah, no, okay, that actually,
that's a valid point.
that is incredibly, like, that does kind of contextualize it a lot more, because somebody absolutely, a lot of people probably could take that as you don't have to think about it as much, and it's probably not a good idea to think about it too much. I didn't think about that at all. Yeah, that fucking sucks. Yeah, don't do that. Don't tell people this stuff. To make it so that you're understood, please.
However, I still stand by my statement of tell the new DM, but don't under prepare either.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you. We have to, but I'm with you in the sense of we need to make it like more clear than just saying that, right?
Yes. A complex statement cannot be reduced to 2 or 3 words.
No, not at all.
Of course
and
not.
like, as people who want to play a TTRPG, I'm sure that we can all listen to a complex statement and try to understand that. At least that is my hope. Her alter ego was at the comments section. I don't know whether to respect it or hate it. Both are equally divisive. It's fair. The advice is very subjective. What's over preparing to one DM is under preparing to another. This advice can cause some people anxiety if they don't know how to DM. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what we were talking about before. Like, it from an experienced person to a non-experienced person, it means so little, because they have no idea, because most people who are brand new fear the system, fear like DMing it. Like, as from experience of being that person beforehand, and also seeing other people go from being that person into actually DMing, it's something that makes everybody kind of a little bit like, I don't know if I could do that, because we've said it before many times, DMing is incredibly easy to do. It's incredibly easy to do. There's a lot of work to be put into it if you want it to be done very well. But it's not like it's not incredibly easy to just start telling a fucking imaginary story with your friends, right? Like, that's going to be fun. And you probably are going to be able to understand what's more fun and what's not, even without the rules. Like, you don't need
Yeah.
a rule book to kind of make a story with some friends, right?
Yeah, easy to do, hard to do well is a good way to describe it, I think.
So yeah, that's why overall it's just so annoyingly reductive to just say don't over prepare.
Yeah.
I mean, it requires textbooks to play, and some of the key parts of gameplay, like combat encounters, are complex enough that you need a lot of experience to be able to execute them well with no preparation. Before you've built up experience and learned what does and doesn't work for you as a dungeon master, prep can be pretty crucial. I received this don't over-prepare message early on as a dungeon master, and I really did try to take it to heart. So instead, I under-prepared, which left me stressed and scrambling during sessions.
There you go.
And once I realized that this advice didn't work for me, every time I heard it, it just made me feel like I was a bad DM. After all, if this was the advice that everybody but me found useful, I must be the one doing something wrong. So
It's a fantastic little anecdote because that really can show like what one's experience can be. It's fucking it's a horrible thing because you could absolutely feel like you're the problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, man, no.
No,
It's
it is the children who are wrong.
exactly, right? Like it's so weird because, man, I know for a fact that I already feel like shit a lot of the time when I TM because I feel like I don't do it well. But it's just like that little bit more that it's like, you didn't prepare enough. You underprepared because you didn't you thought you were over preparing, but you actually were under preparing, and also like, what does that mean? I don't know. Do you know? Well, it must have been more than last time, idiot. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole
Like-
spiral.
And the thing that's weird is that when you stop to think about the advice, don't over prepare, it's obviously it's not, you're not saying enough. And the thing that's funny is that it's a thing that's said so much and parroted by so many people
Everyone, yeah.
that nobody even knows what they're saying. It's like
Or
if you
he's
have
bad.
it's like if you have a book that has it has some kind of incorrect information in it, and then
everybody just
everybody
takes it
like
as gospel.
copies the text to update it, but they're still carrying over that mistake without realizing it. So they're making a mistake that they don't even understand just because it's just information that everybody always uses.
Absolutely. Like, and Aiden, you bring up the 4E is bad thing. Like, just I did a solo thing of a 4E section and doing a video on it where it's just 4E is bad because I went from 5E to 4E and it didn't act like 5E, and also my DM didn't tell me didn't apparently explain to me how things worked, and I learned it all like right then and there, and everything had to change, and I was like, this is not 4E's fault. But we have to hate 4E because everyone hates 4E. And it must be 4E's fault, specifically. It's like, we're just going to keep parroting that until somebody big enough says, no, it's not. Oh my god. You know, it sucks. It really sucks. Because until we have a lot of pushback, and I'm glad Ginny made this because it's some pushback on this at least, and she's you know, popular and big enough that it'll actually do something, which is good. And I hope that it actually gets put into the wider consciousness, you know, and a lot of people actually take this more to heart and start questioning maybe, you know, how specific advice is and all this shit, right? I don't know. Combat's easy. Just reduce everything to a game of paper, scissors, work. Oh, you mean rock? Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors. Let's do it. Rochambeau. I respect it. Corn cares not from where the blood flows. True.
Whence?
4E for life. Yeah, I know, Indigo. I know you a 4E, man. This is actually a good video. Oh yeah, Ginny's made good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we've been disappointed.
I don't think
in
we've
Ginny video.
seen. I don't think we've seen the negative one yet.
No, and like it's prime for discussion, thankfully as well. Like we're not just sitting here just watching it, right? Which is
you could tell that she's put a lot of like critical thought into this, and
Yeah,
like
it shows.
there's other seeds and kernels that like as a viewer you could like expand on and think of in your own mind, which is like A, helpful to help you the viewer learn, B, fantastic for growing community.
Absolutely.
So, like, no, I fully respect it. And thus far, of the 3 minutes and 58 seconds we've talked about, I have, like, I'm impressed.
Right. And, like, we've had contentions with her in a couple of videos, I remember, but, like, they're just minor contentions,
Minor
right?
gripes,
We've never said, no, this is a bad Ginny D video. We've never said that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Always expecting a good performance, if you will. See if you guys can get your friend Matt Mercer to say 4E is good. That should take care of it. Well, so Matt,
I actually was thinking about what Matt would say, and I call him Matt because he's my friend.
Exactly.
I feel like in like I'm running simulations of what Matt would say, and I call him Matt because he's my friend.
Because he is your friend.
And Matt, and I call him Matt.
Yes.
Would be like, yeah, no, 4E, and he would do a sort of a sly smile to himself and be like, yeah, 4E has some problems, which is fair.
Yeah.
4E does have problems, and that's just kind of where he would leave it at the interview. But then if the interviewer were to follow up and say, does 5E have problems though? And he'd go, oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
Does 3.5 have problems? Oh yeah. Like, legitimately, he would go like, oh, you know, it has problems, ha ha ha, and like they kind of move on with the interview. But like, if you were to press, I think Matt would be like, yeah, no, every system's kind of.
I actually think that, and I would posit forth that he would say it's not for me. Like he would go that far.
Yeah,
right?
I could see that, right?
Because I think it's kind of more based off of how they transferred over from Pathfinder into 5e, and that Pathfinder is very 3.5, right? And I think that he might not have he might have tried 4e for a while, and he might even like have enjoyed some of the systems and stuff, like and he might have just thought that he'd rather go down the Pathfinder path because it's more like 3.5. Something that he was more a fan of, but I really do think that he would say, no, I don't think it's bad, I think it's just not for me. Just because now that he's basically made a show on 5e, and you look back at 4e and you go, it's so much like 5e, why wouldn't you think that it's, you know, at least fine? I think that he'd be hard pressed to say anything like super negative about it, you know.
Yeah.
Also because he's Matt Mercer and our friend.
Yeah, and he's just not really that kind of guy.
No, exactly. He would give you his honest take. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely believe that. So, anyway, well, you know what? We'll get him on the show one day. I can't say that. Crazy. I can't say that with a straight face. That'll never happen.
Can't say what?
That we would get Matt on the show. There's no way he would come onto this. Anyway. I have one big complaint about Ginny D's work. Her hair is too aqua. I agree with Boo. That's right.
Does it upset you greatly?
Does it? Yes. It's the question.
I must know, August.
Yes. Can't wait for Mercer to come out and to declare 4E is not bad. Either people will play 4E or it's the end of his career. Dude, if that would be the moment where I'd be like, yeah, I'm done. If they went, no, fuck you, Matt, it's bad. Why would you go against us, right? That would be the moment where I'd be like, okay, it's done. It's over. Like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I really
Seeing Matt make it like a public statement though, like that would be definitely a moment where I would go from like just leaning back in my chair to like sitting like what was his name? Gendo, Shinji's father. like leans
Oh,
forward, fingers steepled, and
Yeah.
like the light sheens off my glasses
Right,
as they
of
go,
course.
ooh.
I mean, it would be an interesting thing to watch, but if it ended in people like literally like not liking him anymore, excuse me, liking him to the point of like actually ending his career in that quote unquote way, then I'd be like, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care about this. I like it just doesn't. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, saying it would end his career is just, I think, intentional hyperbole.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, if that were to happen, it would be so fucking out of left field that I'd be like, okay, nope. I don't understand it anymore. I don't understand anything anymore. Let's go. Anyway.
I kept ignoring my gut and forcing myself into situations where I had to improvise things that I knew I wasn't good at improvising.
Fun fact,
And
he
my
doesn't
game-
have his fingers steepled.
Yeah.
I would call that steepled, or even I would say
No,
the line
that's not steepled.
interlaced.
They're
Yes,
laced,
interlaced,
interlaced.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, but that was the picture in my brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I know it.
Is Gendo his name?
Yes, it is.
I've only seen one episode of Evangelion. Is it?
Evangelion, I think is
Galleon, right?
most of the pronunciation, yeah.
I don't even fucking know how to say it.
Evangelion.
Evangelion, that's right.
Evangelion, yes.
Yep.
And it's
Oh, yeah,
actually,
I know-
the meme
I
is
know
literally
him.
called the Gendo pose.
Nice.
I knew I wasn't good at improvising, and my game suffered for it. It was only once I accepted that I thrive as a DM when I feel thoroughly prepared that I finally started doing game prep that actually worked for me. I think you're misreading what don't over-prepare means. You're taking it too literally. You're absolutely right. I know that what I just described is not what people mean when they say this, but it's what I heard, and I'm sure I'm not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your intention,
Exactly.
your intention behind words is important, yes, but the way that it's interpreted is what's going to like matter for these people and like these new DMs. Like they're going to take away what they take away unless you explain it thoroughly, right? Like unless you make it like I said before, absolutely clear what you mean, then you'll be okay. Then everything will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But well, at least you've done all you can at that point. Sorry.
Yeah.
More of that along those lines. But anything you say could be misconstrued.
Mhm.
And that sucks. But you just got to understand that that's the way it's going to be if you're very vague.
Mhm.
And like again, I'm glad she has these counters from the quote unquote comments section.
Yeah.
Because like it's good to have that as a bounce back of like this is something that somebody might say, absolutely, because that is an argument that you'll see for a lot of things of like you're just taking it too seriously. It's like why wouldn't you take something at face value if it's just said to you like this, you know?
Yeah, especially if you're asking for advice.
Yes, from somebody that you know is more experienced than you.
Yeah.
If I am asking advice, I would say that ostensibly you can assume that like any advice you hear is to be taken incredibly seriously.
Yes. Time to head to work. Well, have a good work.
Indeed.
Evangelion, the anime where you can learn to become the world's worst, insert character trait here. Probably.
Pretty much,
yeah.
I've never watched it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Really? I hear lots of good things,
Like-
though.
Yeah, yes. But at least personally, I had a lot of Shinji's character spoiled for me.
Ah, that's probably why.
And I could not, in good conscience, like every second I saw Shinji on the screen, I was like, oh god,
Okay.
Yeah.
this fucker.
Well, I know nothing. I'm very good at keeping things from reaching me when I don't want them to. So I know very, very little, like basically nothing about Evangelion.
Like,
so
Yeah.
maybe
as
I'll enjoy
far-
it. Who knows?
As far as like storytelling goes,
Mhm.
it tells its story well.
Okay. See, that's what matters really
As
to me.
And it
Well,
also is
characters.
a story that I, at least, have. How do I put this in a way that is spoiler free? It's a story I've seen told before.
Mm.
In broad strokes, I've seen it told before in
Okay.
other things.
Gotcha.
However, that it is an interesting take
Okay.
on a story that other franchises do.
Okay. New movies are better than the TV show, says Sly. Sure. Okay. I don't know. I'd recommend Evangelion to some people. It's mostly good, but the second you think too hard on it, you'll be opening the door to mind goblins. Oh, see, that means that I wouldn't like it. That's the problem. That's because they have the budget to finish it this time. Fair enough. Yeah, if something doesn't make sense to me and it stands the fuck out, then I have a problem because my brain.
That's gonna happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe someday I'll just torture myself. Who knows?
Indeed.
There's, I think it was a Pepsi commercial.
Oh.
Where in Japan.
Okay.
Or no, it wasn't Pepsi. I think it was just some soda in general.
Okay.
Where like it has the characters of Neon Genesis, like Evangelion, and I'm saying Evangelion now because I know it's wrong.
That's we don't care.
Oh, I know you two don't. I'm describing for the sake of the chat.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
But it has like everyone smiling and laughing and having a good time, and like Gendo is there and he's smiling too, and it's like, ooh, you do not know his fucking character.
I was gonna say, even I know that seems wrong.
Yeah.
Like
that seems more cursed
down
wrong.
The back. A level wrong.
Okay. Interesting. I watched the TV show before Death and Rebirth and End of Eva ever came out. I was so confused. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Not the only one. If your advice requires some hidden context in order to be useful, context that you don't provide, then the advice is worthless. So let's talk about what people do mean when they say don't over-prepare, and how we can shape that into advice that's actually useful.
Hey.
Parchment for our needs? That's your problem. Our contract locked in pricing.
Whoa, Francis? You look different.
Oh, it's you. Yeah, my map-making business, Summer Pike Quill and Compass, is booming. And it's gonna really blow up when Dungeon Fog introduces their new community hub in May.
Oh, that's right, Dungeon Fog. The map-making.
It's an ad.
It's an ad.
Now, again, not to not support, but if you have any interest in supporting Ginny, go watch the video yourself and go and look at the ad yourself, you know? Like, it's just, Dungeon Fog doesn't support us in any way, and I... Like, as much as it is part of the video, but it's less to do with the topic, and it's more to do with the need of money.
Apps.
Because and it's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, not what we're here for. Seems neat. From the screens that I've been scrubbing through. Okay. Oh, I love that face as a place to go to. The fuck did you just do? Why are you here?
Why did you skip my ad?
Yeah.
We need to make that the thumbnail like of this video and give it like a clickbait, like the Ginny D one or something.
I don't No, I don't want to do that. See, that's what people who do successful things would do. I don't do.
We have integrity, therefore we're failures.
That's right. I have integrity, therefore I fail. I'd rather fail.
Anyway, now that I have more experience as a DM and I've spent years in D&D communities, I understand how this advice is intended. When people say don't over-prepare, they're really saying something else. Two things, actually. They're saying don't railroad, and they're saying don't waste prep. Let's look at these one at a time. First,
does that cover what we said? Yes. I think so. Don't waste prep. I think
don't railroad, but even then, like, it's not the end of the world if you do railroad for
No.
your first game.
Yeah,
and then
we
the
have
other
some
one,
caveats, obviously.
yeah, the other one, I don't believe so.
Don't waste
Yeah,
prep.
I
I feel like
I
you could
know
extrapolate a bit.
I know
Yeah.
I thought about it, but I didn't mention it. So you're more than free to just discount and say, "Oh, he never thought of it." But like, yeah, no, if you're spending like 7 hours prepping for what will never be relevant,
Exactly.
then that's 7 hours
Yeah.
wasted.
Yes,
That you
that
could
does make
have
sense.
used to prep for better things.
You can do that kind of
will
prep.
be relevant.
Yeah, you can do that kind of prep when you're ready for the game for the next week, you know.
Yeah.
Right, you can prep in advance if you want to prep for, excuse me, oh goodness, content that you're going to be going through, but if you're prepping like the name of the king on the other continent that they won't visit until like maybe next year, like in real life,
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine, but are you ready for the game? You just got to make that distinction. Are you prepared for what's going to be coming up next?
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
again, it's fine if you prep that other stuff. That's fine. But
what if I need to have the pantheon of the next country over all developed? So and so there'll be a goddess of agriculture named Lolthella,
okay,
and a foreigner in the country, an NPC
it's
in
coming over.
the country that we're in,
Yeah.
will like stub his toe and say, "Oh, Lolthella's tits," as like a swear, and the players won't know, but they may ask, and I need to tell them.
I see. Why would you tell them immediately that they don't know? How would they know?
Exactly. Like,
Yeah,
Give me an
you know.
intelligence check.
Exactly. Father of the Year, Gendo Ikari, woof. There you go. When I refer to the movies, I mean the modern ones, not the ones connecting to the TV show. Evangelion doesn't have mind goblins, it has mind flayers. Oh, even better.
that it does.
Nope, not gonna do it, not gonna watch it. There you go. Watch Eva, damn it. Well, you know. Screen cap, you won't believe what Ginny D says next. Yeah, no, that would be again. Like I get the game. Again, I've said it before. I don't begrudge anybody for like doing that kind of stuff, but as long as it's like relevant and actually something that they're covering, I guess, then it's fine. You know, like in my book, I'm getting more fine with it.
Ginny D or Jenny Doe?
Oh
Shit.
I'm gonna throw up.
That's why we bring up Gendo.
Don't prep for season 4 when you haven't finished, or yeah, don't prep for season 4 when you haven't finished session 1 of season 1. Yeah. Exactly.
Fair.
First up, don't railroad. What does that mean? Urban Dictionary says it's about an unjust conviction or a guy with a. Okay, that's enough. If this is your first time hearing it,
basting a turkey with what? That's what I got from the mouth movements.
You'll understand when you're older.
Thank you.
I love that shit because that is totally Urban Dictionary.
Oh, absolutely it is. Oh,
because you'll get one proper one and then everything else is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Term in this context. To railroad means to force your players down a certain path, like how a train has to follow railroad tracks. Instead of a train, you want your players to feel like they're in an ATV. They can go anywhere they want, even if that's off the road and into the wilderness. To me, saying don't over-prepare when you mean don't railroad is a case of mistranslation. It's not the act of preparation that causes
Which, by the way, is something that I have tried to like preemptively do. So like in my first campaign, one of my players eventually started DMing a group and is my DM currently in a campaign I'm a player in.
Right.
In my second campaign, I have one person who was totally new to the system, and 2 people who were a bit more experienced than her, but still fairly new.
Right.
as such, I'm like, oh god, if they're like those two people that are slightly experienced
Mm-mm.
are like prime targets for people like, well, not really targets, the most likely to become DMs later on,
Mm.
to have an interest in the hobby peaked and then go, I'm gonna DM.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is why uh before the campaign started, before session 0 even happened, um I tried to drive home that there will be like an overarching campaign that will tie in everyone's like backstories together,
Mm.
and that everyone would be have a personal interest in seeing completed.
Mm.
However, the way that I make my worlds is such that if they session 1 decide we're marching due north and they just keep going north, I'm still going to have content for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It won't be the campaign, but like there will be countries that have their own like histories. There's a pantheon. There's different interpretations of the gods
Well,
and goddesses
I'd
based
imagine
on what country you're in.
I'd imagine that if they continued that direction and they continued to ignore the campaign, you would make the campaign this adventure now.
Yes.
Yeah.
hmm Um. But yeah, no, like very much. I forget what I was leading into with this. Um, but
Not railroading.
try to prep players in such a way and be like, yeah, like while you're my player, you will see my DMing style, and I will lay things out for you that you can hopefully draw upon this knowledge should you ever become a DM.
Yeah. 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 Um. Yeah. This. I think if we, obviously we're not at the end result yet, but I wonder if the don't railroad thing will morph and transform a bit and maybe become more akin to more of what Boo has said. Um. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I honestly don't think it will. But not for any like nefarious or malicious reasons, right? It's just I feel like railroading is seen as another thing that's very, and it is a problem when it happens with like somebody who is doing it because like they want things to go a certain way and they need them to go a certain way, and fuck the rest of you, it needs to happen this way, right?
Yeah.
There are instances where it's a problem, but as Boo has put out, like using it as a tool to kind of learn and understand the game, and then kind of grow from that perspective, and then kind of get into a more open, freeform thing where you don't do that, or you don't
Yeah.
do it as much at least, and you continue to hopefully like get better at not railroading.
Yeah.
With
And the thing is,
experience.
if you have a story that happens in a place that the players are not in, but you
Yeah.
need to get them there, the problem that you'll have is that the players need to start in point A, but the story is in point B.
Hmm.
And the story is not as effective if they start in point B.
Hmm.
They need to hear rumors about, oh, some shit's happening in point A.
Right.
But if point B. But if they're already in point B, there's no point in having you know what I mean? It starts getting weird.
It's one of those things where there's a lot of like, the big thing about what we're going for, I think right now, is that experience will really teach you a lot more than just listening to advice.
Yeah.
Actually going through and kind of figuring out your style, figuring out how your table is going to be, how you can run things, how you prep, like finding all of this stuff out is very important, but it's not something you're going to get by just listening to people, right?
Yeah.
It is helpful to get advice and to get all of this stuff together beforehand if you so desire. There is nothing detrimental in inherently by asking for a little help, but ultimately you're gonna find out a lot more on your own when you actually do try and DM and do all this kind of stuff, right? And so experience is the greatest teacher.
Yes.
And so just keep that in your mind more so than you have to follow every single piece of advice, right? Like that's obviously everything is, gonna be different.
Mhm.
Um,
Plus, to like, even if Matt did like a video
Mm-hmm.
of like prep for a session, like where he shows like a few episodes after like that session of Critical Role airs, he says, "Hey, this is like all 6 to 8 hours of prep I did for that one session of Critical Role."
right.
That still wouldn't be that helpful
No.
because
Then people would go, I need to
and
spend 6 to 8 hours prepping every time.
well, not only that, but like the thing that we understand as DMs is that prep changes
Yes.
prep session to prep session.
True.
Like 3 hours of prep one night may be naming NPCs and filling out a town.
Mm-hmm.
Prep the second night, maybe making rolling tables.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of whatever you go, oh wait, no, that I should have this. I should make sure like to stat out 2 combat encounters and have them ready by this date. Um like a prep session is just kind of what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
There is no one solid advice or example that could be given or used.
Yeah. Another thing that's very valuable when you're learning obviously is just playing the game as well. Like being a player
Mm-hmm.
is also a very good teacher.
Yes.
Because you learn how the mechanics work and all that shit beforehand, right? Like it's just a lot of things that you learn as a player can obviously be implemented as a DM because you know how this shit works, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
how you're going to your characters will roll things and all this kind of stuff. Like it's all very interchangeable, and even if you don't start playing and you just start reading and start doing it on your own, you can still learn the same stuff. But like being a player is just another avenue that you can take of like, this is how I learn this stuff, right? If you're more of a hands-on learner, I guess, in that kind of way, well, I guess hands-on would be more just running it. But it's just another avenue, basically.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. If players aren't
Oh,
playing the game, oh, sorry, go on.
also, I would throw out just as an additional bit of info.
Yeah.
If anyone is listening to this who is looking for prep on like how to prep, um, speaking personally,
Hmm.
I have my notebook for a campaign that I've not run in like going on 2 years.
Hmm.
Um, if like any of my players were like, "Hey, can I see your notes for this town just to see like how it's all organized and like so I know how to like set up and do my own prep." I would be like, "Yeah, of course," and I'd take a picture and I'd send it to them
Sure.
because almost any DM that if you ask, "Hey, can I have some information that like maybe it's even in a campaign you're currently in, but
Mhm.
is like maybe like a month or two old. Just be like, can I just get some information just so I can base a framework around um or that can I just get some information that can serve as a framework for me for how I structure things. I'm not looking to metagame. I'm not looking to
Right.
gain any info that I wouldn't have already. I
Hmm.
want old information.
Yes.
Um, almost any DM would be elated to give it to you because chances are there is a solid 30% of that information that you never even touched, and it gives them a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also true. Also true. And you might even get like inside information on how they came up with that shit and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'd be so bad for that. All my prep is very spur of the moment a lot of the time. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, if the players aren't playing the game right, they need rails. What's so hard to understand? Thinking face and then smiling face. That's right.
I'm going to railroad my players with a rope.
Ah, very good. Well, next one says, rail them without consent. They'll thank you for it. Wow. I would never rail players in that way. That's good. Railroading usually is looked down upon, especially for novice DMs or really controlling DMs like myself that open the gates to the mind goblins. There's a way to do it well, but it's very conditional. Yeah.
Yes.
Just play sandbox style games. I mean, you could, but it's a lot harder to manage when
it's
you're
very difficult.
A new person, right? Like, again, you could try it, and I'm not saying don't try it, but it might be harder.
You could do a sandbox style for your first DMing campaign, like I did.
Yeah, me too. Well, no, that's not true.
It didn't break me.
North going Zach's campaign. There you go. Just because something prepped isn't used at the table doesn't mean the prep material was a waste. Oh, no,
Exactly.
Never.
Yeah, no.
It's always going to have value to you, or it's going to have it's going to be there just in case. Like, there's never anything that is wasted if you've prepped something. I thoroughly believe that.
DMs to railroad their players. Some DMs prep.
Have there be 2 roads in the forest, but prep out 5 different roads.
Sure.
And now you've got various roads throughout that forest, and if you're like, there's 10 roads in this forest, which road is which road is which? And on each new road, you roll a d8 and you say, "Ooh, 5. What was road 5? Ooh, and
yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
Case of mistranslation. It's not the act of preparation that causes DMs to railroad their players. Some DMs prep very little and still force their players to follow a certain path, and many extremely prepared DMs make the choice to follow their player's lead. That's because it's not really about how much you prep, it's about how you respond to your player's actions.
And by the way, I'm totally clearing my throat. I'm totally. We had one DM. We sort of called him out on it. The fact that his world didn't feel very lived in.
Sure.
And the fact that he was like, this is the fighting festival arc. Now this is the new fighting festival arc.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Just imagine.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Like she's saying, it's dependent on how you respond. It's just something that you gotta learn to roll with it, right? Haha, haha. Anyway. A definition I've heard from Matthew Colville is that bad railroading is ignoring the player's good ideas. Yes. Yes. Instead of saying, oh yeah, you could try that, absolutely. You go, no, there's only the way that you can do this. Okay.
No, there is only the way that I thought of.
Yeah.
At the table. Which brings us to part 2, don't waste prep. To be more specific, don't waste time preparing things that you may not end up using. This is inherently tied to the railroading thing, because if you spend a lot of time preparing something that your players will only encounter if they make certain specific choices, you might feel compelled to force your players into making those choices, so that you don't have to toss all of your hard work into the garbage. But just
I mean, it's a potential thing, absolutely, but also, like, no. You could just go, they missed it. Oh well, maybe I can use it for a later thing, right? Yeah. But I get what you mean. It's something that for new players they could just be lulled into this whole I made this. You must experience it. Right.
Just like the Don't Railroad translation, this one breaks down because of an assumption. That assumption being, the more you prepare, the more you're attempting to predict players' choices. And this is absolutely false. It is entirely possible to prepare thoroughly while still allowing your players freedom during the actual session. Okay, but how? If the answer isn't preparing less, then what is the answer? A fantastic question. I would like to propose a revision of this advice into 2 parts that I think are more helpful to beginners than don't over-prepare. First, prepare flexibly. Some preparation is valuable no matter what your players choose to do. Dan Dillon put it well in that Twitter thread that I mentioned before. Preparation is not about a script. It's about having a solid understanding of what's going on in the world around the PCs. For example, in one of my home games, a cult has been
So like it is a guideline, right? Like what we said before, like many times. All of your everything is a guideline. You get A, you get Z. How do they get to Z? Fuck if I know. We'll get there.
Yeah. Who the fuck knows?
Like, there's double F in the middle there. That's an important plot point that we'll get to. But how they get there, that's up to them.
Yeah.
You know, this puzzle that'll get them G that can unlock S, man, whatever. How do they solve it? You know, they'll solve it.
They need to, in order to progress, they have to get into this castle and fight this guy. How do they get in? Who the fuck knows?
Right.
They do. Maybe.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
They'll figure it out. And if they don't,
that's not for me to fucking choose.
Yeah. And then if they don't, then we just go, well, we'll figure out a different way to get them to get there, I guess.
Now, this does actually change a little bit if you are trying to prepare a lot. If you are actually trying to over-prepare. So, in most cases, if you need your players to go in the castle, all you say is, they need to get into the castle. How? Who gives a fuck?
Right.
But if you want to over-prepare, this is what you would do. You say, your characters need to get into the castle. And then you think up as many of the most obvious choices that they could do.
Sure.
And then you start planning shit out from what could happen if they take them. So, like, they climb over the wall, or they take the drawbridge, or they dig up underneath a wall, or, I don't know, they bash the wall, they blow up the wall, or they climb in through a window. And then you start being like, well, if they climb in through the window, then the Duchess sees them, or if they go over the wall, the guards will see them and start firing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when you have these branching paths, and that's way too much.
Yeah, you can get lost in the weeds if you try to go for everything. What I think is something that you could do, I guess, is if you want to go more specific and you want to do more, I guess, circumstances, you could go, if they are spotted, right? Like,
yes,
you make it a conditional thing instead of it being an absolute, right?
Yes.
Just states of being more so than choices made. Right. So it's like, if it is a sneaky thing, if they are seen, what happens if they are seen by this group and this group? It really depends on how many people there are, I guess, that they could be seen by, you know, or is it just a generalized kind of thing? There's thought that you can put into there, and even that can become something you get lost in the weeds about. But it's one of those things where a condition is just, if spotted, you know, like, something like that could be as simple as over preparing a little bit more, quote unquote. Aiden, you were going to say something?
So typically, at least personally, the way I tend to prep is with the example of I don't know, they get in the castle, like, I don't know. If my players were to ask me, like, oh, well, how do we get in there? The response I say is, that's not for me to know, that's for you to find out.
Yeah.
And I mean that in that, so I had a one-shot I put together a while ago about some kids that were going to try to sneak into a candy shop the day it opened. And I had ways to get into the candy shop Like I had like there is a skylight. So if someone were to like try to jump and make their way over there, they can.
Mm-hmm.
There is a nearby like a tailor shop. So like if you want to do the three kids in a trench coat routine, we
Yeah.
absolutely can.
Mm-hmm.
But like I the most prep I did for like each of those options was like, okay, how hard should like jumping an alleyway be?
Oh, sure.
How dense is the city? Okay, how tall is everything? Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'd set it this number, I guess. When it comes to the three kids in the trench coat, I'm like, okay, what would I do? Have them roll balance checks and then set DC for a stealth
Sure. Yeah.
based upon how well they did on like 20 minus the balance check.
Sure. Yeah.
So like if you do like if you roll a 17, then that's 3 difference from 20 to 17.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then you have a base stealth that you need to roll 15 and then plus that 3. So you need to if you roll a 17 balance, you need to roll an 18 um stealth, and the worse you balance, the higher the stealth check goes up.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about this over prepping, quote unquote, of solutions, that you could be doing, I guess, or at least entry points or options, I guess, more so, can help if you know your table and you know that your players are going to be suffering from maybe some analysis paralysis. Giving them some things that would be like a very common thing of like, you could just go and knock on the door, you could just like things that anyone would think of in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Very, very simple things that may or may not be beneficial or detrimental. Really just they're options that are there. Just so you can get the ball rolling maybe. As the DM, if they go, I don't know what we got to get in there. It really depends on like time that they're taking and all that kind of stuff, right? But having those options there for if that would be the case. Obviously, getting to know your table is something that might or might not be something that you can do beforehand. If you know these people beforehand, usually I would assume that if you're starting out, you would do that with your friends, and so you would probably know them a little bit. I would hope. I don't know. But it also depends on what kind of characters they're making, and so you just got to take that into account as well. Because sometimes people make characters with analysis paralysis, and then it's like, oh fuck. But that's a whole thing with like Session 0, and there's a bigger conversation there, obviously, that we've gone over many times. You can advance the thing they avoided in the world, like time has gone by and things have changed because of what your party did and didn't do. It gives the players opportunity to still go there. Absolutely. Long time no see, gang. Hey, it's the Rat here. What's up?
Hello. Hello.
Good to see ya.
Spreading a drug that siphons magical energy. The DM, Jesse, undoubtedly knows where the drug is coming from, what it does to users, and what the cult is getting out of it. All of that is prep. But he has no idea what we're gonna do to try and stop it, or if we're going to try and stop it at all. We could decide to capture and question one of the cultists, or to examine and treat one of the users, or to investigate the drug itself, or even to take the drug and see what happens. We could ignore the drug completely and pursue other threads. No matter what we do, Jesse's prep allows him to figure out what's next. None of it is wasted. Of course, sometimes you really do need to plan past player decisions. When Mark Humes and I talked about this, he suggested a simple way of looking at it. What's important, and how can your players reach it? Sometimes you need players to reach a certain point or learn certain information. Instead of
I would actually have a minor contention about this.
Okay.
It's not what's important and how do your players reach it. It's what's important to your players and how do your players reach it.
So I think the broader context, though, of it being like this is the story element that will advance them to the next section of the story, kind of comes into play. Because, like, I agree with you. I agree with you that it's more about what the players want and what they desire to attain. But I think in this case, if it's something that is going to be like a pivotal kind of thing, quote unquote, something that they take and that like will get them, it'll unlock, like I said, like you get to G to unlock S as an option or something, right? Having it so that it is what is desired is something that you need to do as a DM more so than making it, I guess, desirable, or making it the goal that the players want to work towards naturally is more important than forcing it to become the goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that do anything to your contention, or?
No, actually, I would say you brought me on board.
Okay. Cool.
Defining the path that your players have to take to get there, center your prep on that certain point or certain information, and let your players reach it using whatever path feels natural during the session.
Woohoo! I did it! I predicted it again! Fuck!
Maybe they learn about the royal conspiracy by eavesdropping on a noble, or by bribing or threatening an informant, or by accepting a quest to dismantle it, or by being invited to participate in it. As long as you have a thorough understanding of the conspiracy itself, you can give players the freedom to approach it in whatever way they like. That all sounds very nice, but some prep just doesn't work that way. Like, what about combat encounters? You're right, encounter prep can take a lot of time, and players might completely avoid it. But remember, combat can be reskinned or relocated. If your players don't—
Yeah, that's literally the easiest thing that you could probably take and put somewhere else is a combat encounter.
Yeah.
Like,
for example, if the players are approaching a very, very large hornet nest, wasp's nest, and the DM wants them to fight their way up,
right?
And they diplomacy their way in and
That's
have
right.
to fight their way down, except they don't fight their way down.
I'm the fucking queen,
they fucking do shit because the DM put too many dudes in there, and it became a giant fucking pain in the ass to run, and so he gave up. I don't remember. I don't think this really applies to what we're saying anymore.
Your friend sounds like he's been through a lot.
He has.
Sounds like your friend needs a pat on the back or something.
Sounds like your friend should do a better job DMing.
Yeah, it sounds like my friend should be better at fucking balancing encounters, but he's never gonna fucking get that shit down.
But
is this the same friend that had the weasel encounters?
Yes.
But the thing is, your friend can at least have those stats to use for something else if he ever.
Indeed, I do still. He still has all the stats for every monster they've ever put in the campaign.
Right.
So.
And I don't know why, but I have this strangest sense that your friend is my friend as well.
Could be.
And
mutual friends.
Yes, mutual friends.
Must be. Would you describe them as a Monty Hall DM?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeez.
Yes, rock, paper, scissors can be reskinned to anything. You can even include Lizard and Spock into it if your players are advanced enough. True.
The way you reskin combat encounters is you don't have rock, paper, scissors. You have scissors, paper, rock.
Oh, it's all like a whole new game.
Yeah.
Made by one man.
Legitimately, there was a combat encounter with the Displacer Beast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can finally fucking talk about this on the podcast.
Hey!
So, my players were level 3.
Okay.
And Displacer Beasts are level 4, CR4.
Yeah.
And so what I naturally did was I then buffed Displacer Beasts.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And made it so a single Displacer Beast was a boss battle.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Then the party stayed at where the Displacer Beast had made its den. And I went, oh no. And I described that, like, yeah, as you're going in, like, you find, like eviscerated deer that, and I have them roll nature checks, and I'm like, it looks very similar to, like, when a cat, like, sort of, like, grabs, like, a mouse and starts, like, kind of kicking it.
Sure.
It brings that idea to mind. You're not quite sure why. There's like there was like muddy footprints in the house. Or no, it wasn't muddy footprints. It was furniture had been moved to the side as if like something big had kind of moved it out of the way.
One of them was a giant scratching post.
I did not do that, but that would have been a tempting idea.
The support beam for the entire place is a scratching post. Anyway, sorry.
So, the party then rightfully goes, we should fortify our position, and they like drive some nails down into the floor so the door can't open.
Right.
They disassemble like a table and like prop it up in front of the like a big window, and they do a very good job of reinforcing the place. And I go, good, you get to dodge this combat encounter, which is good because two of the party were two of the party were level 4. One of the party was still level 3 and had a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
Not
too bad.
Yeah, not the worst. But then I juiced it. It would have probably like downed 1 or 2 people is kind of how I designed it. So downing 1 or 2 people before it dies in a party of 3 people means it was meant to be a very lethal encounter.
Yeah.
That like that was winnable. There were more like a 60% chance to win.
Yeah.
But that also means like a 40% chance to die.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was going to be very tough to fight. And of course, the rogue who had 1 point of exhaustion needed to stay awake for a second night to brew a potion. But they did a good job fortifying themselves in. So I described how like all day long I'd been like hyping up this cat, like like sort of like indicating its lethality, and like, yeah, you find like dead animals, like things are moved out of the way as if it's big. And then later that night, the rogue was fairly perceptive, of course, and was brewing a potion when they heard like a scuffing outside. And it was the Displacer Beast had killed like another deer, and was dragging it like up the steps toward the door. When the rogue was like watching the door, and the door started to open inward and went against the nails, and then they heard the thump of the Displacer Beast letting the deer go, and then heard like a smaller little like toke of the Displacer Beast like pushing against the door with a paw. And then they heard 4 more footfalls hit the door as it kind of like stood with all 4 of its front legs on like the front door, trying to lean in and like get the nails out of the way. And the nails held. And that was the moment when I went like, yeah, you hear like up the door, like you hear an additional four, like an additional three for a total of four paws against this door, and they're like, well, yeah, it's a cat. And then I went, well, in addition to the two legs it's standing on.
Mm-hmm.
And they went, oh, it has 6 legs. Oh, and that was when it was dubbed a long cat.
Ah.
And it jumped onto like the roof of the house they were staying in. And like it started padding across the roof, and they could hear all 6 of its footfalls across the roof. And eventually the cleric made like an intimidation check and that fucking 20'd and like clanged a bunch of pots.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, you know what? That would scare the cat off. And they heard it like take off and like run away basically. And then the next morning they found a dead deer out in front of the door. And they were like, oh no, oh fuck. And that was how I made like just a very basic, like I made my players afraid of a displacer beast.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, which is like it's all in how you describe a scene, I guess. It's not so much in being like, oh, you find a big cat in front of you. It's like set up the story, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you have that displacer beast in your back pocket, so that
I did.
You can bring it back any moment.
I did, and they fought it and they killed it.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I rolled percentile checks to see how lucky they were leaving, and they rolled like an 8%.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, you know what? The displacer beast is stalking you.
Yeah, exactly. You were in my den, idiot. Why did you do that? Now you are my food.
End up going into the forest where you had prepared a fight with some wolves, then maybe it becomes a fight with some feral dogs in the city, or some escaped giant squirrels or something at the circus. The players talked their way out of that fight with the guards that you spent an hour preparing. That's fine. Those guards are bandits now, and the party can encounter them in a few sessions when they leave the city. Or you can sit on that encounter for the next time that your players inevitably find themselves on the wrong side of some guards. I think one of the best ways to do this is to focus your encounter prep on the mechanics of the fight rather than the flavor. Flavor can be improvised, but balance takes more work. The more you can develop this flexible mindset, the less pressure you'll feel to make sure that players do the right things, and the more you can adapt to the way that they want to interact with your world.
One of the things about this mechanics, though, that you gotta remember is that unless you're doing, I guess it depends on if you're doing this experience points wise or milestone wise, because the encounter that you made before will have to be either beefed up or not, depending on levels and such, and what they have available, if they get magic items, if you allow that in your 5e, or whatever. Like there are a lot of other factors that you will now have to come into play if you want that encounter to still be something that is challenging. Right? Because the band of guards, when you've gone through the city and then have had golds thrown at you and you can actually buy better weapons and better armor and stuff, band of guards are probably not going to be as much of a challenge later on, you know? So you can make one of them into like a guard captain, right? Which gives them a little bit of a buff where they're like able to maybe have a legendary action to direct another guard nearby to do an additional attack, right, in between turns or something, right? You give them a little thing and they go, haha, but you still had that initial prep that you can just build off of, which is incredibly useful.
I would actually posit that yes, you can like buff them in order to make a combat encounter like challenging and still be challenging to your players who are gonna start punching above their weight. But I would also put forth the idea that like you can also just keep the stat blocks as they are. Just so like say they're like some bandits that at level 3 were like a pretty challenging battle.
Mhm.
and like at level 10 are some shit nobody bandits that like you're like do like let your players feel powerful.
Sure. That has its place as well, but it does have to make a modicum of sense, right? Because
Yes.
those guys at level 3 that were a challenge at level 10 for these players, they probably have shit that if a bandit looked at them, they would go, that ain't worth my time, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I guess that's more my point, is like you're making the fight more suitable to the current situation is more than just the mechanics. It is also just taking into account the circumstances of this fight now. So I guess overall still mechanical in a respect of like if you need to buff something to actually make it work still. But it's just one of those things where it's like you got to figure that out at that point, you know. If you really want to use your bandit group, you got to figure out if it will fulfill that you guys are fucking powerful at this point, or if it will be like, why did these guys even try? I have fucking plate mail.
Yeah.
I came in with a fucking leather vest. Now I am leaving with plate mail. What are you doing, man?
It's like in Fallout where the fucking raiders will be like, "Oh shit, you see that guy over there with the fucking minigun and the power armor and the Deathclaw gauntlet?
I'm gonna get that guy.
I'm gonna fucking get him.
I'm gonna get that guy." Shit.
Yeah.
There's a meme I enjoy about Skyrim, and it's like, hey, you see the guy that just killed a dragon and ate its soul?
Yeah.
Let's mug him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Reminding me of my current group have to break into a warehouse. They spied inside, yet someone fell off the roof. Guard came out to question them, yet the thief pickpocketed his keys. Overall, my group avoided a conflict, got an alternative way to continue their mission. Now they're going into the warehouse at night that has different threats. Very cool. Yeah. When a party goes somewhere they shouldn't be, that they're not ready for, they start their first round T-posing against them as a final warning to turn back.
Yeah.
I would imagine, though, at that point, you've warned them enough, you know? You've gotten you got them to the point of, like, this is a place where if you go, it's pretty dangerous, okay?
It's gonna be bad.
Like, and, like, that'll only get you so far, right? You got, really seasoned guys go there, and then they fucking never came back. It's like, what does that mean, you know? Like, they might not visualize that immediately, but if you have them go through an encounter and you get them to the point where they almost fucking die from like one guy, then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's a little fucking tough. Or they get fucking spurred on and they go, we can take them all.
I'm like, what? Yeah.
It could go whatever way, but you gotta.
It really comes down to a Darkest Dungeon coin toss of like how will your players react.
Yes, it is. Will they break or will they
fearful
overcome?
Or emboldened?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then like the emboldened thing is, come on guys, I bet there's good loot.
Exactly. That reminds me of how bandits and the like in Witcher 3 attack you despite being a highly renowned witcher who's killed far bigger things. Yeah, but if they kill you though, you know, they'll be the talk of the town.
You know, they're actually my player who became my DM.
Yeah.
His campaign is like a little power trippy, but like in a good way.
Sure.
Actually, kind of, it's the same level of like power trippy that like imagine if Boo's campaign was a bit more anime.
I can't. I literally can't.
Okay. Like legitimately, like hit someone into a mountain and the mountain breaks.
Okay,
like
that
over
kind.
the top.
Okay, yeah, no.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
okay.
that. But there was at one point some shit nobody bandits were like going to like hold us up, and we were like, oh no. When one of the bandits went like tapped his eyes went wide, and he like tapped his like captain, more or less, the bandit captain,
Yeah.
like on the shoulder, and is like, I think those are the Undertakers.
Sure. Yeah.
But we need to like back off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we like kind of pointed at him and we were like, if shit breaks out, you can live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one of the team members had changed like shape from like initially they were an air ganassi and they got a blessing that turned them into a fire ganassi. Now the guard went no, and like pointed to the now fire ganassi, who is also like almost like, because it was a genie that did it, like they're fat now.
Sure.
And when they were in air ganassi, they're like super like slim, super svelte, and like constantly like hovering about.
Makes sense.
And now it's like Majin Buu levels of like fire ganassi.
Okay.
And the bandit captain was like, no, it's not the Undertakers. Like, what is that, Zephyr?
Yeah.
And immediately, like, we all just kind of stiffened and like slowly turned at Zephyr as like they like cracked their knuckles, and we're like, oh, okay. So you can definitely have like a shit nobody like bandits or guards that try to punch like and think they can punch way above their weight. And just have it not happen. But you can sometimes just have like a combat encounter where the bandits run up to the person who just killed a dragon and ate his soul and pause and go, you know what? Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as because that's a good way to do it. Overconfidence. Overconfidence is a great kind of tool that you could use every now and again, as long as you don't. Like,
some may describe it as a slow and insidious killer.
Yes, I figured you'd go for that. I was hoping you would. But yeah, so using that as a way to get those like, you could absolutely do that to have your like shit tier bandits come up and be like, I am an encounter, idiot. But yeah, as long as it makes sense, like I said, because in that case, like, yeah, they fucking thought. They fucking thought, you know, they thought wrong, call an ambulance, but not for me, you know, so it works in that respect, absolutely. Let's see, if the T-posing doesn't work, oh, sorry.
The utter power behind that sentence, like, oh god, I can't get over it.
Yeah. If the T-posing doesn't work, lessons have to be learned. They assume the pose that should have been enough to tell you you're in the wrong hood. Exactly. Sometimes you just have to tell the players that these monsters have red bars with skulls floating over their head. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do have to be direct, right? It really does depend. Yeah, but if I saw a guy cleave a man in half wearing full plate, I would book it. Oh, yeah, most people would. Absolutely.
Yeah, most people would.
Some guys are like, if I can get right under the armor, right in that little bare spot under their elbow, man, I got this. You know?
If I get in there with my dagger.
Yeah, I've covered it with poison. It'll get them in 3 to 6 hours. I'm ready.
Like, if they don't have poison resistance.
Nothing has poison resistance. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Nothing.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He has resistance to poison. No, like legit. There was actually an encounter once where I had it was sort of like my character's arc, and it was just a horrendous racist who is going to make so my character's hometown was racist, and then a druid came and like or a dryad technically came, grew a tree in the middle of a lake and started helping the town out. But the dryad looks like an elf, which was problematic to the
Oh.
racists.
To the racists.
And the dryad was like, hey, you know what? Like, even if you're racist, I will still help you, just not as much as I would help the decent people. And he did that as a way of like encouraging better behavior.
Maybe stop being so racist and I'll help you a little more, idiot. Come
Yeah,
on.
he's like, I will cover your basic needs and what you need to survive.
Yeah.
But if like you're a decent person, I will help you thrive.
Yeah.
And the head racist got kicked out of the town and was like, oh no, that dryad sucks shit.
I'm a racist.
I'm a racist.
I'm gonna leave and then come back later.
And when he started to come back later, he had made a deal with a creature from the Feywild.
He actually became more racist.
And he did.
I was making
and furthermore, he was building a dirty bomb.
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ.
Of a bunch of like essentially poison and fire, and was like, I will burn down that tree, which is a magical tree that definitely takes damage from normal bombs.
That's right. Because I'm very racist.
And my poison fire bomb not only poisons you as well as burns you, but will poison the lake in the center of town, so the town will be destroyed, and everyone will die, and the dryad will be dead, and I can return to the ashes as their racist king.
Oh my god. Dude, I love it.
So racist.
And nth levels of racism.
Right. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
My character has problems with this guy, given that my character looks half elven.
And he's in fact not a racist.
Also is not a racist. And like we went there and literally we were like, all right guys, that's the racist hideout. You can tell by the air of racism in the air. And
smell it.
Like on our way to the racist hideout, I had straight up told my people, like my friends and like the people in the party, like I told them in game and out of game, when we get there, there is no stealth. I am going in there and I am killing him.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay.
That is the end of the story.
He is a
and
racist
they're all
and he
like,
must die.
he is a racist. To which I have some minor contentions. Minor. So minor that my character punched him once and he took 36 points of damage.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Because I was using Electrum Brass Knuckles. Which increased the power of my Divine Smites by 1d8.
Right.
And I did a 4th level smite.
I would hope you would.
So that he was racist.
You're trying to cleanse it. I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
That's 5d8 with the fact that it was Electrum went up to 68 with the fact that I had improved Divine Smite is 78 plus 1d4 for my the punch plus my strength, which was 5, plus my charisma, which was 7. And I tripled. Like he had 6 hit points, man. He was a racist. That's all he was. It was just a racist.
That's right.
And he had he had like 12 hit points. He was like essentially kind of like a basic ass like guard captain.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, because he's like, he's powerful by normal standards.
For the peasants.
So he had 12 hit points and I dealt, I think it was like 36 or 37 points of damage.
Killed him 3 times over.
And I killed him 3 times over, which triggered a special homebrew rule that we have in our campaign of when you like when you double someone's damage, they're dead instantly.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
you triple their max, you punch them into a cloud.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
missed.
just-
They
they
get
just
missed.
disintegrate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there were two people in the room. One of which was the guy helping make a dirty bomb. Jury is still out on how racist he was.
Well, he
Um,
was assisting a racist, so I
yeah.
imagine
But
he's.
I think
he
he's.
had
I think you
also
term
been
those.
hired.
You term those people as racist adjacent.
Adjacent, yes.
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 So the Ray Jacent person.
That's right.
Literally like as I entered the door into the room where they were, he swung an axe at me.
Yeah.
And I took 1 point of damage. And my character, he's like holding the axe in front of him, and he's like shaking the axe, and he's like, "Stay away!" My character shouldered past him, punched a guy into being a cloud, and the guy saw that and dropped the axe, and
As
he's
he
like,
should.
"Oh, fuck!"
Yeah. I think I'm done. I think that's it.
Yeah, he nat 20'd actually. But before I punched the person into a cloud, he nat 20'd against the ranger. Would you
Oh.
like to guess how much damage he dealt?
2.
4, actually.
Oh, lucky.
To someone who had like 120 hit points.
Yeah, well, you know, can't win them all.
He did his best.
He got a good hit in.
Yeah, and that was when we sent him to the plane of imprisonment.
Ah, yeah, fair.
Where he lives to this day.
As he should. He's thinking about it.
Like I said, jury is still out on how racist he was.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you
Impossible
didn't
to
kill
know
him
for
because
sure.
you weren't sure.
Exactly. So
I understand.
we held him and we're like, we'll decide what to do with this Ray Jacent person later.
Later. That's a future me problem.
The me next week problem. Just stay in the plane of imprisonment for a while. If we remember you exist, we'll decide what to do with you.
Exactly. Okay. There's many more things that came in. Let's see. Sometimes that isn't enough, then lessons gotta be learned. That's right. Players that only play D&D just learn bad habits that have to be later crushed. Not necessarily. But his power comes from racism. Without it, what is he? True. He's nothing.
Complete tangent.
Okay.
As if that
I
wasn't
just started
earlier
reading 2
tangent.
things. Go on.
Jeez.
No, you're fine.
We're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We were in my character's hometown, and we met another of the elusive, read also fucking everywhere, racists.
Oh!
And the NPCs that we had talked to, we were like, hey, where's some general stores around here? They're like, oh, you can go to this, which is, it's a newer shop, it's nicer. The Dryad supported it.
Yeah.
Or you can go to, and then said the name of a shop that my character remembered.
Right.
From when my character was a child.
Yes.
As the owner being extremely fucking racist.
Oh, another racist.
Oh my god.
This one didn't leave, though. Oh,
No, he did not.
he did not want to become racist king.
What a bitch.
That's right.
It's like the One Piece, but racist.
Mm.
I'm going to be king of the racists. that was Pippin. Pippin was going to be king of the racists.
Okay.
Anyway, so when the team was like, yeah, you recognize this as a shop that was very racist, everyone at the table did the Gendo pose.
What do we do about this man?
And they were like, so they did the Gendo pose, and then immediately after they're like, wait, no, this is Aiden's thing, and they all looked at me, and I did the Gendo pose very hard. And I'm like, I would like to go to the newer place so that we can buy what we need, and afterward, if we have any time, I would very much like to go to the racist place. And
Just to assess.
Yeah.
just to see how racist they still are.
Right, exactly. They might have toned
Maybe
it down
they're
a
not.
little bit. Maybe they're learning. Maybe they're learning.
And that was when the DM was like, yeah, they're closing soon. As you approach, you see a going out of business sign, and and we were all like, oh no, this is a place that the Dryad very much didn't like.
Yes, absolutely.
So my character walks in and immediately has a crossbow bolt shot at him.
Oh!
And the crossbow bolt, like, my character's AC was 25.
Right, of course, yeah.
And this was an old man with, like, a -10 to his firing. So it went wild and, like, destroyed a pawn there. Or no, he was like, can't you read the sign? And my character was like, no, sorry, I'm an elf. Can't read. And just continued browsing items while like the guy loaded a crossbow bolt, fired, and the bolt went wide, hit like a pot off of like a or like a vase off of like a thing, and my character looks over to the broken pottery and is like, "Damn, that was breaking your shit."
Nice.
And that was when the old man decided to do what peasants think grenades are.
Okay.
And he picked up an alchemist flask.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And my character looks at this old man, who very, very much was like a sort of a shaky person.
Right.
Because
Age
he
has
was
not
fucking
done him
old.
justice. Yeah.
And looks at him holding and shaking the alchemist fire in his hand, and he goes, I wouldn't, and then the alchemist flask detonated.
Yeah.
Person with 1 hit point took 1d4 damage.
Yeah.
And the DM rolled a 3.
3 times over, eh?
Because my character like was going to like step behind a counter like and rush over and like try to like do like 1 point lay on hands,
Right,
and,
yeah, not let
and
him
even
die.
revive him because even though my character hates racists, he doesn't want people to die.
Yeah.
And he's like, if someone can taste death and an elf brings them back, we'll hopefully like get them to change their viewpoint.
Maybe the racism will go down a bit. Just a little bit.
Maybe he will go from captain racist down to like lieutenant.
Right, yeah, exactly. They get a little bit of a demotion.
maybe the king of racists would have demoted them.
Yeah. It's like, man, you died to somebody that you were racist against.
And then you were
That's gonna
saved
be a
by
penalty,
them.
my guy.
I gotta take a few of those stars away.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my God,
because triple the character's max had been dealt,
Yeah.
my character arrived to find a smoldering pile of ashes that were still vaguely racist.
You can smell
And
it. You can smell it in the air.
Yes, it got like a little like smoke trail that's in the
Right.
shape of a skull. And my character is like, well.
What am I gonna do at
And
this point?
that was when we remembered that the Dryad was like, please don't cause trouble in the town. And we were like, we had a sending stone and we had to ring him up and we were like, hey, so like so and so.
You know that racist?
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, how he's super racist against people who are elves, and we have a person who looks half elven, and like the Dryad's like, yeah. So he kind of like immolated himself.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. Don't go anywhere. Sorry, half the parties actually headed to the King of the Racist hideout, and like we heard the headache that was happening on the other side of the sending stone. We're like, finger guns away, and we're like, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Okay. So, let's see. There's a bit fairly early in Critical Role Campaign 2 where some bandits ambushed the PCs, and after one guy got liquefied, the rest took a step back to rethink their life choices.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I do remember
yeah,
that.
I remember that.
It was really funny.
And that also reminds me of when we played my first Call of Cthulhu campaign. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you kind of fucking blew up that guy's head with a shotgun, and the other guys are like, "Yeah, let's be somewhere else."
Yeah, I think I'm done being a cultist today.
I Kurt Cobained that cultist 2 times over.
Indeed you did. You Kurt Cobained him so hard, I was like, yeah, the dice, don't fuck the dice. They run.
Man.
I'm like, I can't make an intimidation as part of my attack, but
That is
so perfect.
It does make a statement.
Yeah, it does. I
This
suppose I can
is a
give you a
message.
bonus, guys.
I'm learning the power of racism now. That's right.
Power
Gets
to
you
get yourself
killed.
fucking killed.
Missed it.
Yeah.
Poison the lake in town. Are you Kefka? No wonder you're so racist. That's right. Oh, dude, I actually did. It wasn't too long since I played through a little bit more of that game, and yeah, I remember that. Good times.
The guy who got my character collects like soul coins of people's like souls to try to like capture evil souls and turn them into like with good deeds to purify them. My character had 3 attacks. One was on the guy who got liquefied,
right,
and my character was in a blind rage. So he kept punching even though the person had been liquefied.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And like demolished the wall behind him. I dealt like an additional like I think it was 54 points of damage to the wall.
Jesus.
My character was like, imagine every single traumatic childhood memory bubbling at once.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The wall that was now racist, like separated from the building. It was like a flying chunk of stone throughout the air and started falling down the hill, where it then fell apart. And that was when my character came to a chilling realization of, I have no body I can press the soul coin to.
Yeah, that man's gone.
Just find the biggest chunk you can.
That's what I tried, and it did not work.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It was like my character picked up his shoe.
There's a little bit left in here, right? It's pulled in the toe a little bit.
Like my character realized what he had done and turned to the rest of the party, his face now covered with racist.
That's right. Let's see. Does smite damage go up depending on how racist the target is? Yes. Absolutely.
I will propose that to my DM.
Well, then, here's the thing. Be careful about that, because if you do that, he might not ever have racists ever again.
Oh,
you know what?
There is
You've made the world a better place.
There is one battle left in this campaign, and it's the final battle this Sunday. And I know for a fact that the dragon we are killing is very racist.
There you go.
Oh, they tend to be.
They do.
This one. If Pippin was going to be the king of the racists, I would define Ember as
the emperor of
the emperor of
racism.
the racists.
Yeah.
The god of racists.
That's right. That's right.
No, that would be Tiamat.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Well, can she be racist? Because she has 5 different colored heads.
What? Yes.
And that's like her true form. That's the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to get through the rest of the stuff. So
yeah, that'd be good.
So Baldur's Gate chunking, yes. Hey, I just like making bombs. Don't mind me. That's right. Punching a guy into a cloud just prevented the reincarnation of a racist for 3 generations. This is a good thing. There you go. 5 minutes behind. Well, you've caught up, I hope, at this point. Can I be a paladin of this racist town? Oh, no. What bothers me in Skyrim isn't so much the cracked out bandits trying to mug you, it's the fact that even after you've killed the world-ending dragon, there are still bandits that can take you. It's level scaling. There you go. This story reminds me of a scene from the Overlord anime. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah, with the girl.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That shoves her daggers into his eye sockets, and she's like, "What?
she was racist?
I don't." Wait, I don't think they attacked any racists in Overlord, did they?
It might just be
meant the girl bandit who is overconfident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's racist and stubborn. There's your real villain, refuses to leave, die, or apologize for his racism. There you go. When is the episode where D&D defeats racism happening, gents? Oh, I wish soon. That's the most racist pile of ashes I've ever seen. That's right. If I let my first level D&D players glimpse a Baelor through the window of a giant skull-shaped castle at the top of an eternally erupting volcano and they go in there anyway, they're going to be learning a lesson. Yes.
Yeah.
Inanimate objects, racism, you hate to see it. We're now justified in property damage, no door left unsmashed. There you go. Sabos, the battle butler who killed a bunch of elite slavers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. At some point, I will watch it, though.
It's very good.
That is on my list, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of Overlord, it got renewed for a 4th season. Fucking finally.
Oh, cool.
It's been fucking years.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we finish this video out, boys. We got
that'd be good.
3 minutes left. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, but one time my players said they were gonna board a ship, so I spent the whole week coming up with a crew and researching seafaring combat, and then they changed their mind and teleported to the other side of the continent. Ouch. Listen, sometimes D&D is just like that. The freedom to do literally anything is part of what makes this game so exciting. Even flexible planning can still break when it's bent too far. It's an inevitable part of DMing that you will occasionally prep things that you don't end up using. But the more you can allow for player agency in your game prep, the less often this will happen. And the easier it'll be to laugh it off and let it go when it does happen. Which brings me to the
And, like, you'll have those things in the future, right? Like,
Yeah, like if you ever want to do anything on a ship ever again, you've got that done.
Yeah,
If you ever need a racist sailor.
That's right. Specifically. You have everything you need.
Yeah.
Speaking of racist, the comment section has something to say. Oh. No, not necessarily. Yes, Overlord Season 4 comes out July 5th. Oh, nice.
Wow, that's pretty soon.
There
Nice.
you go. God, tangent, now that I've been reminded, I don't want the 4th of July to happen. I don't need loud fucking fireworks happening over my head. I just don't want to deal with that right now.
Well, too bad.
I know. We gotta exert our freedom.
Yeah.
second part of my advice. Prepare to your comfort level.
Hey!
Personally, as a DM, I thrive on feeling prepared. If I don't feel like I'm ready for the session, I feel anxious, and that comes out in my DMing. I am the most fun and the most engaged as a dungeon master when I feel confident, and preparation gives me confidence. I'm a person who loves lists and spreadsheets and notes. It's just who I am, even outside of a tabletop gaming context. I would much rather have prepared something that I don't end up using than need something that I didn't prepare. I am not by any means saying that it is not possible to over-prepare. It totally is. All I'm saying is that that's a line you're gonna have to locate for yourself.
I was just okay, yeah. I wanted to pause it before, but I wanted to see if she said it. It's the experience thing again, right? Like you're not gonna find out what's your level of preparedness that you need until you start like actually doing it, and the there's a real chance that your preparing will get you to a point of perhaps over preparing to the point of anxiety or something like that, right? It really is one of those things that you kind of just got to go through, you know? So don't be afraid of it, even though it might not put you in a great situation for a little while. You can at least learn how to deal with it and get through it, and then you can figure out what you want to do in the future to prepare in a way that's more comfortable for you. Sometimes you unfortunately do have to go through something that makes you a little bit more uncomfortable to get to that point of being able to be comfortable.
Yes.
That whole stepping out of your shell thing, in a way, for this at least.
There are plenty of DMs who would look at my game prep and say that I over-prepared. But if I've prepared to my comfort level, then I know I've done the right amount of prep. Once you've established that you're not gonna railroad your players, what's the worst case scenario of over-preparing? If it's just that you prepare something that you don't use, you get to decide whether or not that's a problem. I recently created a small town where I knew players were gonna spend at least a few days. Could I have come up with all of my NPCs off the cuff? Probably. But having a list of NPC names, descriptions, and brief personality notes made me feel totally ready for the game and gave me a lot of confidence during roleplay. The players didn't meet every NPC, but who cares? For me, it was worth it. Likewise, you can decide how much you're comfortable improvising and let that inform your decisions. One key part of all of this, and a big part of my beef with this advice, is that beginner DMs often don't know their own comfort levels yet. You can read and research and ask for advice, and it can be helpful, but ultimately, nothing is going to teach you what works for you except for actually doing it. It wasn't other DMs telling me don't over-prepare that taught me how I like to plan for sessions. It was...
Calm down.
Like, it's just every time, you know? I'm glad. I am glad, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, I already made this point. Shit.
Yep.
I'm glad you got to there, but fuck. It's almost like you know what you should be saying. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that.
Weird.
Sitting down in front of a blank document.
Oh, but I mean, so far, and we only have like 30 seconds left, but it's not going to come up at this point. But she didn't even go into the railroading thing can be at least beneficial slightly or anything like that. So we still have that on the table.
I would hope that it's known that railroading can be beneficial because add-on modules exist.
Yes, and I agree with you. But it's one of those things where it has been now kind of more put into the camp of this is not something that you should be doing. In general.
Yeah, sitting right next to D&D 4e.
Yes, and but even in this video, it is more said as don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Which again we've come up with, and I think it's more of like if she probably gave herself more time to think about it, she could probably come to the same conclusion. Because if you just think about the fact that modules exist and they give you those guidelines and stuff that are kind of railroady in their own sense, but are good for people learning the system, then she could probably also, and I would honestly imagine, come to the same conclusions that we do of like, it is helpful for people that are learning this shit because it gives you that shit that you can just go through it and you understand how it works and it's all there for you to reference. And off script, it might be a little harder to kind of figure that stuff out. So it might become more railroady, but that's just the way that it's going to be for that first kind of thing. And you're learning already, and it's okay to make the mistakes as long as you realize that they're kind of a mistake. Right. And you learn from.
And preparing for sessions, and then running sessions, and then reevaluating whether or not I prepared the right things. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I would like to see us teaching beginner DMs. Learn, explore, practice, and figure out what kind of DM you are. That's why in these videos, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to make you think, bring up new ideas, and challenge your assumptions. For more advice that I think beginner DMs need to hear, make sure to check out this video about 5 DM lessons that I wish I'd learned earlier.
Yeah, I'm filming a part where I fall off of a chair because there's fire, and then I say, my flesh. Okay. Bye.
That's funny.
Nice. Cool. Good video.
Indeed. For like the 3 or so minutes that we actually focused on it.
What do you mean? I remember all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say the first 500 words.
And that's what you get when you come to this stream, this show. You get mostly tangents and mostly stories and mostly just talking about things other than the thing that we're discussing, but usually it's related somehow in some way.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for. You're not here for what we're watching. No, you're here for what the fuck we're going to talk about.
Of course. We're here for our reactions, not a reaction channel.
Disclaimer. Yeah, you're here for us to just sit here and just say,
Yeah.
Good video.
In the best cases, it's just, yep.
And even in those cases, we at least have something to say, hopefully. You know, because I try not to get us videos that are like we literally just have nothing to say, right?
Yeah, that's the problem with Seth Gorkowski videos.
That's why I haven't done any more of them like at all recently, except for the one that we did before.
Because they're so good that we don't have anything to fucking say.
And usually we just have a minor contention, but that's like so far in that it's like, is it even worth our going through? You know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things to balance.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, we've gone for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and as much as I want to get to the second video, I do have an appointment tomorrow pretty early in the morning to go look at an apartment, and it's very important to me to not be like bedraggled and shit, and put on a good first impression. So I think. Thank you.
Yes.
I think
before you close out the stream for the evening,
we're still gonna read comments and stuff. But yeah, go on.
Okay, cool. I just want one final tangent about the dirty bomb that I mentioned.
Okay.
Was hooked up to a dead man switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I turned a man into a cloud,
yes,
I tanked a fucking dirty bomb with my face.
Nice.
Nice, dude. So wait, the dirty bomb didn't also turn into dust?
The dirty bomb was like a big thing on a table.
Oh, okay.
And the Ray-jacent person,
that's right,
who dropped his axe, saw an explosion and then saw me shatter a wall. And like even after having a bomb blow up in my face, still have enough energy to kick the shit out of a wall. And when like it was like, what the fuck? And because this is my hometown, I saw my parents later that afternoon. And they were like, hey, why is your face so racist?
That's right.
And I was like, oh, that ate a fucking dirty bomb to the face. And my mother was like, it's been 7 years. Why have you never contacted us? And started like going and like being like, my character's mother is very much the type of woman who tries to be like you're in serious fucking trouble and I'm going to like kick the shit out of you.
Okay.
And my character was like, dude, I tanked a dirty bomb to the face. What are you going to do?
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Like, sorry it happened. I'll be better about it, but like what are you going to do?
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, go ahead, slap me. I've only got another 50 points lay on hands remaining.
Yeah, I will be fine. Yeah. Anyway. So let's get to comment reading and then we'll shout out the patrons and then we'll end it for the evening.
Yes.
So let me set this up like this. There we are. So first off, 5 days ago, Timothy Martin says, on our episode of Bad Harry Potter TTRPGs and More Good Old Garibay, this was episode 86. On this topic, I have a hard time seeing Harry Potter turned into a TTRPG. Maybe I'm missing something, but it seems like it does not fit the format. Perhaps because the world basically revolves around Gryffindor's house, and of course Harry Potter himself. So yeah, I do agree with the guy in the first video about how every magic user can do everything with the right training that makes a standard class system hard to do. Plus, I do not see that many people playing someone from... I do not see many people playing someone from Hufflepuff. Sorry if I spelled it wrong. Lol. And most people who are not hardcore fans will not care about the lore and other things like that. Hell, before I saw all the YouTube videos talking about the lore, I did not know any that reading the books or the movies growing up. I assumed that we're in those. It might just be better to just play a wizard TTRPG without the Harry Potter brand that is balanced. Well, I think I'm done. Have a nice day, everyone. Smiley face, thumbs up. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole thing about it. Like, we would have to come up with a completely different system that would work with how Harry Potter works if we wanted to make it into a TTRPG, I think. Like,
Yeah.
you can put the skin over anything else, sure. But, like, if we wanted to be specifically, like, for this world and like, how the magic works, it's a whole thing. It's a whole
essentially
fucking
you would
thing.
need to create like a magic dueling system.
Yeah. Well,
Because that's
why...
kind of what happens in like every Harry Potter like spell battle. It's usually a duel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like using stats like bravery and stuff like that, where it's more just these concepts that apply to spells more so than like spell lists or anything. Anyway. Oh, I didn't read some things. I feel like you could make an exalted character whose damage goes up the more racist the enemy is. Probably. Sir, sailors are sexist. Get your discriminatory stereotypes right. Fair.
They can be both.
They can be both.
Yeah. Come on. Anyway, I feel like I went to the D&D Racism 101 class on how to do racism right class.
No.
Well, there you go. That's what I felt when I joined a Roll20 game and turned on my webcam. Oh no.
Yike.
Roller coasters are technically on rails, but people have lots of fun riding those things. It's all about
Rail.
expectation management and onboarding. Yes.
Railsist.
Railsist. If I had to do it over again, I probably would have run a module for my first time DMing. Of course, some modules are written better than others. Yeah, I was fortunate to do Expedition to Castle Ravenloft specifically, the one for 3.5 that was more open worldy than it was like strict in
linear.
Yeah, linear. That's the word. Brain couldn't think.
Yeah. Very good.
But so it honestly that probably shaped me on how I run things, right? Because it being more open world allowed me to just do shit, and it was great because I had all these things that I could work with, and there was just this whole place, right?
Yeah.
Open world, quote unquote, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing on. Timothy again says on last episode, broadening our TTRPG horizons. These games sound cool. Maybe someday I'll check out some one-shots or campaigns for them if I get the time. Lol. Great show, guys, as always. Also, good to see Aiden, and good luck with the broken doorknob. That's right, you came in saying you broke your doorknob or something.
Oh, yes. My doorknob is still technically broken.
Ah!
But I had 2 locks when I moved in. I had a deadbolt and then my doorknob lock.
Yeah.
And my doorknob falling out meant, of course, I could not use my doorknob lock, so I was relying on solely my deadbolt. But I figured out how the temporary replacement doorknob lock works, and got it working, so I am back up to 2 locks.
Good. Well, there you go. Never fret, everyone. Okay. And then again, or not again, then also on that episode, Unit Rico says, "Oh, I'm definitely with you guys on not watching Twitch much. The not watching Twitch much thing, especially for longer story-based games. I just worry I'll end up missing something and not be able to follow what the hell's going on. Hell, the reason I like watching YouTube and stopped watching TV is exactly because I can choose when and what I want to watch. Also, the TRVE KVLT thing is read as true cult. It's basically a meme that describes tryhard metal fans who claim how any band that isn't banned in at least 3 countries for setting churches on fire isn't proper metal and shit. Weird. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
But only because I'm a metalhead.
No.
My door handle is broken, so if I go in my bedroom and close the door, I'll be trapped, says Lux. Oh my god. You can get that fixed.
You
Um,
could be a dead NPC in a zombie survival game.
Man.
And then also on that last episode, Lux says, rewatching it on its own, the Savage Worlds video actually did explain what bennies are right after he mentioned them. I think you might have actually just missed hearing him say it. The description he gave was pretty brief, so that would be easy to do. Okay. So if in that case, then I'm glad that he at least did a description on it. It probably would have helped.
Yeah.
With our understanding, but anyway. I don't think it takes away from a lot of what we were saying, though, except for those parts that we were talking about the bennies thing specifically. At the same time, that term bennies just landed badly on my brain. I don't like it at all. Yeah, you and me both. Also, when he rated the complexity 4 out of 10, I don't think he's saying it was bad because it was complex, but more like he was saying that on a scale of 1 to 10, the level of complexity would be a 4, but that there are optional rules that you can add to make it more complex. Yeah, I think we got that. I don't know if we were just, did we misunderstand that, or because I thought that it was more just like, it was weird that he put that when he was also saying
it was just kind of weird, really.
I don't know. Again, if we misunderstood or anything, then apologies. So I actually can't remember exactly what I said. But it was more kind of just playing into it. Because it's like, 4 out of 10, not very complex, but later on, a little more complex. It's like, okay, well,
simple and complex.
Simple, complex words on the screen.
Yes.
Anyway. I had to rewatch a few parts of it because my brain wouldn't focus, but overall I found it helpful. That's good. I appreciate the explanation he gave of how to generate a character and how to roll a check. That gives me some idea of what playing a game with the system would be like, and that makes me a little bit more likely to try it at some point than I would have been before. I'm not as bothered by the use of the words simple and flexible here because at least he didn't turn around and say this made it inherently better than some other system that was more crunchy. Fair. It doesn't make the system inherently better, but if a system is in fact simple and flexible, there's nothing wrong with saying that it is, because that could be what someone is looking for. I don't believe he ever really implied that simplicity was inherently better, and I didn't really see him attacking other systems for being less simple. Yeah, I don't think we said that, so, but
I don't remember.
I'm actually pretty confident about that we didn't say that, but if that was the implication that we gave across, then that is not what I want to have been the intention. So, apologies. For the Traveler video, the entire first minute and 30 seconds could have been cut out without anything important being lost. Yes. Luckily, it went uphill from there, but that was not a good opening. I get the mood he was trying to create, but it's likely that I would have clicked away in that time if I had just been watching it for myself. Yes. Unfortunately, I can't really say it did its job of catching my interest all that much. What interest I did develop in Traveler came more from your own discussion than anything he said. He might have made a decent pitch for science fiction roleplay in general, but based on his presentation alone, I don't think I would have come away convinced that Traveler itself was the system I should use for it. The character generation minigame is interesting, but it wouldn't be enough by itself. Not that it was a bad video other than the opening, but I really would have needed him to spend less time creating a mood and more time giving me information about the system to actually convince me. The only real takeaways I got were risky character generation that might not give you the character you wanted, and massive setting. Though
Yes.
honestly, I would still need to do more research to actually know just how much detail has been established for that setting, or whether it's just mostly just a big blank canvas for the table to fill in.
Mm.
This is not to say that I'm not interested in Traveler, but not because of that video. Still, I think Starfinder is higher up on my list of games to play right now, and the only thing I know about it is that it's a spaceship RPG made by Paizo.
Yes.
Seriously, even though I can't stop saying bad things about it, I really didn't dislike that video. I keep trying to end this comment on a positive note, but it's just not happening, so I guess this is it. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. We don't always have to be positive, remember. Fucking, it's sickening if it's always positive. But yeah, no, again, it wasn't like a bad video. It just literally,
it just didn't really do its job very well.
No, as you said, all of what I learned about Traveler was from Boo explaining it.
Yeah,
like because he had knowledge of it, and I was like, yeah, this sounds sick. Because he was just kind of going like, look at this. This is a thing, and I'm like, okay. Looking at it with the context, though, that Boo was adding, I was like,
yeah, because
this is fucked. I love it.
Like I said in the video, if you don't have the context, it's word salad.
Yes, exactly.
And it really does not do that character creator justice.
No. But yeah, that's the comments. So thank you for those, everyone. Always do call us out if we misinterpret or any of that kind of stuff. It is very useful, very helpful, and I will always be appreciative of you keeping us honest and our integrity intact. But other than that, what's up?
I said, oh, well, mine's in shambles, but...
well, overall, I think we can...
3.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway. So, if any of this tickled your fancy, and you're newer, or you just, at this point are just like, hey, maybe now's the time. We do have a Patreon. That is a thing. You can go and donate to it if you want to, / also have the ability to. Don't feel like it's an obligation, please. It is just there as a way to help run the show. So you are directly helping to support. It is an option. Again, optional. So, that being said, of course, we will thank our lovely patrons who do help support the show, going from the top. That is Draco Kraken at tier 4. Thank you. Mog0 also at tier 4. Thank you as well. Rick, aka Unit Rico, at tier 4. Thank you so much. Slazer at tier 4. Thank you. Steely at tier 4. Thank you. Drake Cross at tier 3. Thank you. Chris at tier 2. Thank you. Doom Priest Lux at tier 2. Thank you. Frozen Spaghetti at tier 2. Thank you as well. And last but not least, of course, Kill Chrono at tier 2. Thank you so much. Thank you again to all of you that support us this way. Again, not something you need to do, and those of you who have been doing it for a long time now, it's insane. What are you? Why? Thank you. But
Indeed.
You make me self-conscious. Other than that,
And
of
I
course,
just beg for more.
that's right. I have my 2 hype men for giving us money, and I try to squish them down as much as I can.
Yes.
I don't really hype people into getting us money. I just make insane
I just ask.
overreaching
I know.
requests. You could be like my favorite fan if you donated money. I might even remember your name for a couple hours.
Oh God, I hate that. Um, of course, if you would like, you can get our good old logo on a shirt or something that is offered over at TeePublic. Percentage of it will go to the artist. And at some point, we're gonna get probably a new logo to go to kind of use because need one, and I've yet to find somebody who can get me the background that I want for our fucking show layout because I want a table with like I have a whole layout that's I've designed that's like shitty, and I want somebody to make it good. But
so it's like 3D model? Or?
No. It's just
okay.
it's just a little thing I made in GIMP. It's nothing. It's just a little thing of like, this is what I want to look like, but better. Thank you. Because having a visual representation is probably more helpful than me saying, I just want it to look like a table and it's cool. But anyway, other than that, of course, you can support us through Humble Bundle, because we are partnered with Humble Bundle. A link in the description will let you go on the store, and anything you buy through it, using that link to get you there, will support us as well as Tabletop Alliance, which also has a link in the description for you to go and learn more about their charity. So if you would like, you can do that. There's a Talisman collection going on right now, which is a virtual board game that's actually pretty cool.
Nice.
I like it. It's neat. So that's something for you if you want that. Other than that, it's got books and other things. Humble is a great site. I will always endorse this site because it has given me so much, and I am helping. Even I'm not an addict. I'm helping people when I buy games off it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. You have a problem.
Yeah,
you can quit anytime.
It's not an addiction. It's a donation.
Exactly. But all jokes aside, legitimately though, it is a great site. You get a bunch of good deals for however much you want to pay, and it helps. It actually does. So it's. I
got something off of Humble a little while ago, and I was like, Alejo, give me a code for Humble.
That's right. And I gave him the link, and he clicked it, and then it said, "Oh, you support TableTalk." That's crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I was
not many people do.
That's true.
And I was like, ha ha ha! I'm making money back.
Well,
I am making money by buying games.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
That's how that works.
Xbox outsells PlayStation consoles in Japan recently. Hell is frozen for sure.
Yeah.
It's not an addiction, it's a donation. Why are you guys in my brain? Don't listen to us, Con. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's everything.
I think
for
that's
tonight. I'll have to rename the stream as just the fucking bad advice and tangents, really.
Pretty much.
But they're all pretty relevant, so it works.
It's a fun time.
I never am disappointed.
I would dare say our listeners are now far more aware of the politics of racism in my DM's world.
Exactly.
Yeah, and where they get exploded, and that's pretty much it.
That's right, August. There's your title. Bad advice. Don't support racism. That's right. Not with the comma there. It has to be there though.
Yeah.
One person had an explosion and then died. The other died and then there was an explosion.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so obviously if you're, hey, I'll do the thing that you're supposed to do on YouTube, you're new or something, you could subscribe and all of that.
Yeah.
If you
don't
want.
forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and comment, and hit the bell, and buy a Ridge wallet, and use Honey.
Oh Jesus! So that's a little free. But if you want to, go for it. If not, you're just gonna come back and watch if you care, and if not, then you're not going to. Okay.
Indeed.
Like it's just how it is. So, anyway, that'll do it for us for tonight.
Our analytics have shown 95% of our listener base isn't subscribed.
Yeah,
Let's get that to 100%.
that's right. I used to do that. I forgot.
Yeah.
I did that for a little while and I hate it.
I cringe.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You all know how we feel about this shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll catch you all next week, potentially Thursday, though I don't know if I don't know how fast I'll be if I get the apartment thing. I don't know how fast it'll be, and so I don't know if it'll change anything. I will keep you guys updated as much as I can through Discord. So do pay attention to that if you give a shit. If not, just wait for when it comes out on the channel itself, you know? But don't not to mention your sponsors for tonight. Raid, Shadow Legends. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Con. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here, and you guys get the fuck out of here too. Go on.
Aiden, do we want to play any more Monster Hunter, or are you going to be good for the night?
Nah, probably gonna be good for the night.
Okay,
All
just
right.
figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
Hold on. Get out of here.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.